265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. It's time.
You know what time it is?
The game for Tuscaloosa's longest running sports show.
The biggest goal of our team,
especially in the first half,
we at Bama, we're trying to be the best.
Always is to win a national championship.
Something cool to look back on.
We don't want to waste a failure.
You're inside the game.
John Mechie on the ground.
Appreciate your interest in the game.
On your home for Alabama sports.
Alabama wins.
Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. Now, here's your award-winning host, Ryan Fowler.
And a big good afternoon to you. Welcome into the game. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. How do you like the sound of this? You guys ready for this? You ready? You ready? Are you ready to get excited? Here we go. Practice starts next week. How do you like that? How do you like that? And now we're going to be given a unique opportunity when you do the afternoon show. Pretty much the entire time with Coach Saban was in Tuscaloosa. Now there was a period of time like 2010, 2011 that we were on like 5 to 8, but still we would not be able to get to any practices, and that'll be one of the advantages of doing the afternoon. And we are going to have practice from 9 until about 11:30. There'll be a media availability. So now I will say this, White, I don't know exactly what I'm going to be able to come in here because normally I do lunch and then I come right in here, a little bit less stress. But I don't know if I'll be like covered in sweat because, out on that practice field, it can be a little warm, So I don't know if I need to go get like a gym membership here. Maybe that'll get me to the gym. But, I can walk in, take a shower. I'm going to come in here like soaking wet with sweat and hang out with you guys for like 4 hours. But we will have a lot of content and we'll have a lot of media access just like we did in the spring. There'll be a lot of coaches available. There'll be a lot of players available. But it will be more of a reaction show, right? You will go to practice. Then we'll have Kaylin DeBoer and Nick Sheridan and Kane Womack and all these the assistant coaches. They'll be addressing things and we'll see things that we'll be able to come back and share. And I don't know how much practice will be open. We have not got a full practice schedule, but they'll run through that next week. So we'll have more details on that exactly. What the availability, will it be a couple, 3 days a week? Will it be all of camp? Will it be, will they shut it down when practice gets here? In the upcoming season. I'm sure that'll be one of the things that we'll discuss and how much media availability that we'll get into. So we'll dive into that, but it will be a little bit different because I've always been able to set up the conversation, right? I'll try to work my practice sources even when we're on the air to try to see and hear. My milkshake guy at Jax is always my number one source, okay? Because he's right across the practice field. There's no quicker way to get information than to fix somebody a milkshake or an ice cream cone. And hopefully you had a great weekend. I did. Took, just a easy day on Saturday. Went down to Big Mike's, knocked out a good steak, one of our great sponsors. But really didn't do anything, mowed some grass, took care of some yard work. And then yesterday I had a me day. I went out to Dallas for a few days. People that listen to this program know that I'm a avid outdoorsman, love to get outside, love to hike, love to, I fish. Probably not as much as my brother. My brother's a bigger fisherman than I am, so I always say that a little bit hesitant because I'm not as big of a fisherman as he is. But I do like to fish, but I love to hunt. Went up to the Deer Expo that Denisha had given me 2 tickets last week, so I took a buddy of mine, Richard Adams Heating and Cooling, one of our great sponsors. Him and I rode up, and we went to the Deer Expo, and a lot of like-minded folks up there. A lot of deer hunters, but avid outdoorsmen, but a lot of like I said, like-minded folks. A lot of like-minded folks hanging out up there, and that was a gigantic. So I know that I hear the commercial airing not just on our station, but 95.3 The Bear. I hear them on there as well. World's largest deer expo. Bob Coker does a great job with that, and ended up running up to a few of our sponsors, and ended up running into Philip Williams, the paint spot, and a couple of other people. So we had a good time. But I want to start today because I feel like that coming out of SEC Media Days, and White, you may feel the same way. You almost like you let it marinate. You hear things because when the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed, in Dallas. It's media. And you hear so much that you also have to step back a little bit. It's probably on your drive back when you got a little bit of a dead time that you're reflecting on what you heard. And it was like, okay, I think there's a lot of content that came out of Dallas. I thought there was a lot of things. And my biggest takeaway is this right here. When I went to Dallas, I went, okay, I know Alabama's problems. I know what I think Alabama's problems are. We could run through them right now, right? Cornerback. Okay, who's going to answer the cornerback? Who's going to answer the right tackle question? And I think they've got solutions to these questions. But also, you talk to other media members, everybody has problems. Everybody has problems. You could sit here and you go to Texas and you could pick apart their roster. You could pick apart their weaknesses. You could pick apart, their team. They lose a lot of that on that defensive front, plus that defensive line coach has now moved on to Baton Rouge. You could take a stop off at LSU and you could make an argument why and why not. But we're going to talk about some of those biggest obstacles that would prevent Alabama from getting there, because I think last week we confirmed. White, I know you were making your way back from Dallas. By the way, smart move of driving, because I know a lot of our media buddies ended up flying out there and flying back. And going out there was fine, but coming back, a lot of my media buddies were doing reports from different airports and got a little bit delayed. They'll learn from the veteran here. Don't wait around for Auburn and Kentucky. It's not worth getting delayed by a couple of days listening to Auburn and Kentucky. It always costs you when you want to hang out with Auburn and Kentucky. Now, you were there with Auburn and Kentucky because you drove, so there's nobody can restrict you. But what was it like? Oh, never mind, your phone's ringing off the hook over there, so I'm going to let him figure that out. But I was going to ask him, what was it like when Kentucky and Auburn stayed around for a couple of days, and you had Arkansas, Kentucky, then you had our good folks right there from Auburn. What was it like from a media attendance? Like, what was that final day? You were there.
It was a daggum ghost town. That you had left, and a lot of the other media people were gone already, and so
you think it was half?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably about half. There were still some people asking good questions.
Because when we were packing up, when you and I were packing up on Wednesday, there was a lot of radio stations that were packed up. Was it a lot of those guys were gone, or no, not really? What was it like on Radio Row?
No, there were some people on Radio Row that were gone. It was definitely but Matt Moscano and they weren't there anymore. I didn't see them. There were a couple of people. Of course, the Arkansas Coalition was there. The guys that were sitting just across from us.
They have to be. They have to be.
They had to be.
I'm trying to think who that was. I think it was. It was Trey. I think it was Trey. There's a couple of Arkansas. David Basil is also from up in Arkansas as well. David's a great friend of our program and a great guy to kind of help us analyze. So it was kind of a ghost town out there. All right. Well, it's it does make it a little bit of a traveling obstacle to get out there and then also get back. So. How's the private plane purchase? Have we decided to purchase one of those for Tide? Are we there yet? Are we
as soon as we get on? As soon as we get the budget for that, I'll let you know.
Okay,
because you and I can use it to go to Wisconsin.
Now out of all of the people that eliminate me, because I don't know anything about pilot's license. Who do you think would be the guy that would want to fly the plane? I mean, do you think we have a host that would fly it? Like Martin? No.
Martin, Wimpenberry,
no. I mean, they probably struggle with vehicles. I would never get in a vehicle. No. I've ridden with Gary. Gary is a great driver. I don't know if I'd want to be in a plane with him though, because Gary can go from 0 to 100 with anger. Like if a plane cuts another plane off, Gary's one of those. Gary's one of those. So I don't know.
Take a lap around the airport. We got somebody who's in your spot. And
now see, Christian would probably be a guy that would be, because Christian's always level, calm. And I think you got to have that personality to be a pilot. So maybe Christian would be willing to go get his pilot's license and be our flyer, would fly us around, and then he could benefit as well. So I think
pay a little bit extra, be the flight guy, handle everything, and he's traveling with CTSN as well. So That eliminates that,
Maybe
too.
they could even chip in a couple of bucks for our gas. Maybe that would be an option for Crimson Tide Sports Network. Just throwing it around a little bit. All right, so we're going to get into the conversation today. We'll take phone calls. Trudy Armand coming up in just a couple of minutes. We're always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325 Skyline Boulevard, and online at Tuscaloosa Toyota. And we were there on Saturday. I did go by the dealership. I went by because Wyatt. My wife, after screaming to the top of my lungs, okay, I was going to go. We had a 25th anniversary back in March, okay? You know, you're a married guy. You understand this, okay? It's funny how you have conversations, and then I kind of explained to my wife. I said, I think, that we would like to go out and get a 4Runner. I wanted to get her a 4Runner for her 25th anniversary, just and literally pay it and take it out of some savings and knock it out. She said, no. I'm driving my 4. She's got a 4Runner, but it's a couple of years old. Okay, it's several years. Now I say 8 years old. But she loves it, okay? I mean, she's put 200,000 miles on that thing. Well, we're sitting at Big Mike, and she looks at me, and she says, I keep hearing you talk about those 4Runners. She said, I want to stop by and see a couple on my way back. I said, where did this come from? Because you've been so pro or anti getting a new 4Runner. So she looked at me and said, let's go by and see. We did. We went by and saw a couple of 4Runners. And I think she was not there in March, but looks like she's there in July. So that's going to be an addition. So 4Runners are always top notch. And, when you buy a Toyota, it's not just about that 100,000. It's about what can get you beyond. But I tell you, one of the things that's kind of crazy is how they hold value. That is, you drive a Toyota. It's pretty crazy. The way they hold value is 200,000. Okay, no big deal, but you still got a nice little trade-in value there when you look at the 4Runner that we've got from a few years ago. It holds value when you look at Tuscaloosa Toyota. The 1.9% on the Tundra, you can find that for 36. And you say, well, I don't need 36. I want to go to 48. Well, they're kind of staggered a little bit. You've got 3.99 on the APR for the Camry. You can see all the dealer for complete details. 2.99 APR for 36 on the Toyota RAV4. The big one sales event. We are now 40 days away from Alabama Crimson Tide football, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union, alabamacu.com, checking, savings, mortgage, home equity loan, financing a vehicle. We are 9 days away from Alabama's first practice. Next week, Alabama will start practice. Players report on the 30th, first practice on the 31st. The 31st is next Wednesday. So got a few more days, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to take your phone calls. We'll get those involved, and we can go a lot of different directions right here on the game. We'll do that. Trudy Armand next. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
This hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
Alabama political leaders are reacting to President Biden dropping out of the presidential race. West Alabama Democrat Congresswoman Terry Sewell posted that Biden will go down in history as one of the most consequential and transformational leaders America has ever seen. Alabama's unemployment rate remained a record 2.2% in the month of June, but the percentage of those unemployed remains at 57.7%. Tuscaloosa's unemployment rate at 2.9%. And rain every day this week is expected to help.
Rate based on you. Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky cloudy at times through tonight. The chance of a few passing showers or thunderstorms. The high today 86, the low tonight 71. Tomorrow mostly cloudy with scattered to numerous showers and storms around. The high 85. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Where the legends of Alabama football hang out.
McCarron, draw play. Lacey, huge hole.
Touchdown. Yep.
Alabama touchdown.
The game with Ryan Fowler. Your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Born in the USA.
Always a good song. Always a good song. We have reached out to President Biden. We'll see if he has an interest in our producer job that will become available after Noah departed. We'll see if... do you think he could produce that show Across the Glass? I don't think so. It's too much. I look over Across the Glass, and it's like an octopus. It's just like moving hands all of the across the glass. Well... Kamala may not have anything to do in January. We'll see if we can bring her on board. But no, I'm just kidding. We're first day without Noah. We're navigating. Wyatt's back there, and he will be for a few weeks. And then I think we've got a target on a guy that is going to be jumping on board. And we're
in a heated recruiting battle, but we're going to try and sell some things, maybe get an NIL deal going, and we'll secure it. I'm pretty good on that recruiting trail.
Well, I can throw out some Southern Ale House mac and cheese. I can do a burger, whatever it takes. I mean, if somebody else is trying to recruit the guy that we're looking at and the guy that we have targeted, so we'll see. But like I said, President will maybe he could jump in. Seems to be a good option. I mean, what would it be like having Sleepy Joe Across the Glass?
You'd have to have like a back scratcher, something long with a stick that you can, tap on the glass and make sure he's awake.
Now, this is a long time ago. I used to have pins right here. I used to have a producer that would kind of drift away, and I would have to throw pins at the glass, like to wake him up, because there's a window that separates the producer and I. But he can see me and I could see him. But I would literally, Wyatt, I would stick pencils right here. And I would throw pencils at the glass when I needed to wake somebody up. I did have a producer one time that did fall asleep during a show. Now, that's always fun. I look across the glass, I'm like, hold on a minute. How am I going to wake this up? I also had another producer that was producing the show, and I was trying to get it to break, and I was trying to send it to break, and I looked outside. He's outside unloading a truck. I kid you not, okay? I'm doing the show, and I'm trying to figure out how am I going to get his attention outside, and I'm snapping my fingers. I'm doing everything I can, and I can't send it to break. He goes, oh, well, they needed help. I'm like, yeah, but I did too. I'm like, hold on a minute. But anyway, so it's going to be a lot of fun. But let's go to Drudy Armond. Drudy Armond, does your producer sit in the same studio with you or in a separate room?
He's in a separate room behind the glass, Brian.
Okay. So, same with me. Okay, but, you see those studios that have the producer and the host in the same room? Have you seen those studios like that some of the people do?
Yeah.
That would be a little bit of a challenge. That'd be a challenge for me.
Yeah. I've been in your studio. It's always been the producer behind the glass. And
yeah.
I've done the same thing you've done in the past. I've had to throw pencils and pens at times.
But I mean, you gotta have that guy. I mean, you gotta trust your producer because he can make you look like a fool.
Yeah.
He can make you look smarter than you really are.
Or he can squirrel. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Drew. I want to go back to Dallas. What was your number one takeaway from Dallas? I'm not trying to box you into any team. What was your number one takeaway?
Well, first of all, that I would think that on paper, and it doesn't mean anything. Just like the most meaningless part is the preseason All SEC players. I mean, who cares? I mean, being preseason All SEC, that it's just. You can pick an order of finish. I understand that. I guess it needs to be done. It needs to be to create conversation. But I just think it's pretty meaningless to be preseason All SEC. Let's just see who steps up during the year and earns it and becomes postseason All SEC. That's the most important thing. But I think Kirby's very comfortable in his own skin. I think he understands now that all the
Drew. This is not AI, Drew. This is not. Hold on. This is not AI, Drew. Is this not?
No, but not.
I mean, you're bragging on Kirby Smart, Drew Armond. What happened to you? Did you not get enough sleep last night? You still recovering from Dallas?
No. I'm not bragging on him. I'm just.
Sounds like a brag to me.
It's on him, man.
Okay.
He's the guy. So everybody's going to say that Georgia's the program, that Georgia's number one, and that now Nick Saban was able to be everybody's Super Bowl for 16 of the 17 years because again his first team was flawed. But from 2008 on, he was the Super Bowl for everybody, and he navigated that better than anybody has in the history of the game. Now, let's see if Kirby can do it, okay, because he's going to be everybody's Super Bowl, at least until Kalen DeBoer, gets things rolling again in Tuscaloosa, which I think he will. But I thought Kalen DeBoer seemed very at ease, very comfortable in his own skin, understands that he's at Alabama, but also understands he's going to do things his way, and that's so crucial. when you're not really filling the shoes of Nick Saban. You're basically trying to take the baton from the Coach Saban and build the program in your own image. And I think he completely understands that. There's been too many times where Alabama's tried to hire someone and they don't want to be themselves. They don't want to coach the way they're supposed to. They want to try to be someone they're not. And I think that's the furthest thing from what Kalen DeBoer is trying to do. He's very comfortable in what he wants to do. And football's football. He's won on every level. He's 104-12, overall in his coaching career. And, it's worked on every level, and it certainly had worked at Washington. And I think what he's done can work at Alabama.
And I think we're done with the head football coach at the University of Alabama giving us rants, True. I just don't ever see Kalen DeBoer giving us like a DeBoer rant. Do you ever see that? I mean, could you? Yeah. Those are done.
I can't. I don't think we're going to have, we use so many of those. I mean, I used to have some of those locker room speeches as ringtones, you know what I'm saying? But I just don't know. We might end up with a locker room speech maybe once or twice, but I just don't. I agree with you. I don't think we're going to have the rants and Saban coming in and trying to get his point across. He's already gotten to his team trying to get across to the media in the country. I don't think we're going to have that. It's going to be a more subdued approach, but that doesn't mean it's not going to work. It's just going to be a different style, a very self-assured style. And I think it's a team that's going to be fun to watch. They're going to be wide open offensively. They're going to fly around defensively and fly to the football, and looking forward to that. And again, there's different ways to skin a cat, and then I think Kalen DeBoer has his way he wants to do things, and I still think he can win and win at the highest level because certainly he played for a national championship last year and nearly played Alabama, but played a really good Michigan team. They played them hard, played them tough, came up short, and I think that's one of the reasons he's in Tuscaloosa. But he's going to have every resource to win at the highest level, and can't wait to see how he does that. So far, recruiting has certainly been ultra successful.
Drew, I want to go back to what you said about Kirby Smart because I think it's worth even going back there because, you talked about kind of the front runner of being this tenure coach, the guy that everybody looks to for quotes, because many times you and I would be in a press conference with Nick Saban and they're not even asking about the game. They're not asking about the upcoming game. They're asking about the future of college football, a college football question. If not Kirby Smart, who else could be that guy? I mean, as you look around the landscape of college football, not just from an SEC perspective, but who else could take that charge? Who else could fill that void that Coach Saban leaves with his absence away from the game?
I mean, I'm not sure there is someone right now. I'll give you an example about a coach. He was ultra successful. He won 3 national championships, but he could not sustain something like Nick Saban did. That's Urban Meyer. I mean, he lasted 5 years at Florida, around the same time frame at Ohio State, and he won championships. He could not sustain and continue to feed the beast and be the guy where it was everyone's Super Bowl. The two programs at Florida and at Ohio State, respectively, imploded. Basically, imploded. It was a little bit more of an implosion at Florida, but still, it didn't end well at Ohio State. So he had trouble being the man and being looked at every day. It's not easy. Heavy is the guy that wears the crown because everybody shoots for you. It's just not an easy thing to do. And so I don't know. I mean, Dabo Swinney's even found that out. I mean, I know he's in a weaker league in the ACC. He's been slower to embrace NIL. He's been slower to embrace the transfer portal. He's been criticized. He finally started losing coaches because when you win at that level, you're going to. But again, it's one of those things where I don't know right now if there is a guy that can kind of take that mantle. I mean, Brian Kelly's won a lot of games. He hasn't won a national championship on the Power 5 level. There's very few that have. And so I don't think there's an obvious candidate out there right now besides Kirby Smart. And can Kirby do it? We're certainly going to find out starting this year because they won 2 in a row. They were in the middle of a 29-game winning streak before Alabama ended that, which ended their playoff chances. They're certainly going to be a heavy favorite to be in the playoff, to win the SEC, and potentially be number one. But, we've seen they've had some issues off the field, a lot of transgressions on the highways, but again, that's going to be dealt with in a different way than it was in the past. And Coach Saban certainly had to deal with some issues in Tuscaloosa, but is Kirby going to be able to navigate it? We don't know. He's been the most successful of Nick Saban's proteges. A lot of them have struggled because they've had a problem finding their own identity. But Kirby has won at the highest level, but can he continue and sustain it and become a Hall of Fame coach? We're going to find out.
Drew, let's go back to Alabama. When we open up camp, because the next time we talk, we will literally be hours away from Alabama's first practice here in Tuscaloosa as they're marching their way. 40 days away, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union, alabamacu.com. What is the number one question you have around this team, something that you think needs to get solved in camp for Alabama to have the team and the success that we think they're capable of doing?
Well, I mean, I think it revolves around the secondary. I think when you look at Malachi Moore, he's the old man. He's been around since 20. He came back for his extra year. He's going to play safety this year. He's mostly played nickel throughout his career. He's going to play a little bit of a different role. But you have so much inexperience back there. You lost two guys to the NFL that are going to play a long time, in my opinion. Terrion Arnold, who I think had an outstanding career at Alabama, developed really well. Kool-Aid McKinstry, he slipped to the second round, but I think the Saints got a steal there. Trey Amos decided to transfer to Ole Miss. So you lost a lot of it. And then Caleb Downs took the money and ran to Ohio State, who had a freshman All-American season at Alabama. So there's not a lot of experience. They got Damani Jackson from USC. He's going to have to be reprogrammed because, when you play for Lincoln Sharman, you don't know how to tackle. You don't know how to, cover. You don't know how to do anything defensively. You got to basically start from scratch. But he has the talent. He's a former 5-star. Then you had Keon Sabb, played some major snaps for a national championship team at Michigan, and he's going to try to fill Caleb Downs' shoes to a degree. And then you got a ton of freshmen, all of them talented, And let's not forget, certainly the transfer from Wake Forest as well. So they've got some experience, from the transfer portal that they haven't played at Alabama. And then the freshmen I love them. I love, Jalen Mbakwe. I love Zay Mincy. I think they're both going to be really good players, no doubt about it. I think you couldn't have done a much better job recruiting, in that class and getting really good players to come in. The freshman class defensively is going to be good as far as in the DB room. It's just that they're green, and so we'll see how quickly they catch on. And I certainly believe Coach Lindquist and Coach Hisler are going to do a great job with them. I think both of them did an outstanding job at Buffalo and in Wisconsin, respectively. But it's just a lot of inexperience, and so we'll see how they do.
Drew, let's go to the offensive side of the football. Other than Jalen Milroe, give me a couple of superstar candidates, some breakout seasons, some guys that you're watching on the offensive side of the football that can kind of take the bull by the horns, using some Nick Saban verbiage on the offensive side of the football, other than Jalen Milroe.
Well, a guy that I really like, that I think's been underutilized in the offense, and he started to come on the last third of the season is Kendrick Law. I think he's got a chance to be special. You heard Kalen DeBoer talking about him in Dallas, how fast he's been running as far as the catapult stuff. He's big and he's physical. He reminds me a little bit of Mechie with some of the edge that he plays with. But I really like, Kendrick Law. I think he can really play. I'm really looking forward to seeing if he can make that next step in that jump. And I think a couple other guys. I think the running back tandem of Jam Miller and Justice Haynes, they weren't getting talked about a lot down in Dallas. But, I really think they could be as good as any combination of running back in the conference. And I think Kalen DeBoer is going to run the ball much better than people think, especially on the outside and the perimeter. But I think, Jam Miller and Justice Haynes are going to be outstanding. So I'm really looking forward to those guys, no doubt about it. And I think, Kendrick Law, as I said, and then, of course, Ryan Williams. Can't wait to see him. Heard so much about him. I already seen him in high school. Saw those plays that he made there. But this is, big boy SEC football. But Andy, remember, he's supposed to be a senior in high school. But I'm just telling you, I have high expectations for him, and I think he's going to play a lot. And I'm talking about by the first game. I think he's going to be heavily involved in this Western Kentucky. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him produce. And also another guy, too, because I think tight end is going to be a bigger part of this offense under, Kalen DeBoer and Nick Sheridan. I think C.J. Dupree, I think he's a really good player who was underutilized a year ago, and I wouldn't be surprised if he caught 25 or 30 passes and was a bigger part of the passing game.
Drew, you got a lot of congratulations last week. We appreciate you taking care of Digger. He came in here with his tail between his legs on Thursday and Friday. It was kind of, you humbled him a little bit, man. I mean, just, we appreciate that. I mean, we haven't been able to do it for like the last year. So just want to say thanks.
Well, it's one of those things. We were deep in the heart of overrated, and they've won one national championship combined since 1939. But if you walk through the down the street in Texas where it's 102, and you walk through the hotel, I mean, there's a lot of Texas and Texas A&M buzz. They believe they're going to win championships. I mean, A&M, we'll see. That's never really happened. They've always been. They've got a good tradition, and they've had good teams, but not great teams. But Sark, we all know who he learned under. He learned under Nick Saban and Pete Carroll, and he certainly had a great year last year for the Horns. They got to the playoffs until Kalen DeBoer took care of them, and Kalen DeBoer is already 2-0 against Texas. So I'll just say this: I think I like Alabama's chances. I picked them, second in the conference, but I certainly think they can win the league if certain things go their way, and if they stay healthy and guys step up, and if they improve defensively in a couple areas. Because if some of those young defensive backs, hit the ground running and end up, doing really well, and I didn't bring up Xavier Brown. I know our good friend George Teague, who I had a dinner with on Wednesday back in Dallas, one of the best guys you'll ever meet. I know you have a great relationship with him too. He was down there throughout media day. I know he loves Xavier Brown. So
he does.
They've got a lot of good young talent in that secondary. If they mature quickly, and then a guy like James Smith, who I really liked in the spring, he's a sophomore from Carver Montgomery. If they can get a defensive lineman to come of age and kind of become a war daddy up front, they've got enough talent at linebacker, I believe. And if they, I really think they've still got enough pass rush talent as well. I know they lost Dallas, they lost Braswell, but they've recruited really well at the edge position. But in that wolf spot, I really think Alabama can be a team to be reckoned with. And the first game I'm kind of looking at that is after Nick Saban Field is christened against South Florida, going up to Wisconsin and playing against a Luke Fickell team that's going to be physical and well coached. If Alabama can go up to Wisconsin and whip the Badgers, I like Alabama's chances to have a big year.
All right, go back to LT Overton, because you brought up that defensive front. You think he could be, because that's one of the things that they've missed on that front, is just having one of those dominant defensive linemen. I mean, a guy that you have to occupy with extra attention, whether you're trying to chip him or you're trying to, one of those guys. Can LT Overton be that guy?
Well, we'll see. He certainly was heavily recruited, and he was the number one player in his class, and reclassified, went to Texas A&M, and had some ties to Jimbo Fisher and Dirk Neck, but a lot of guys went to A&M and didn't develop. So it's another opportunity. I know his parents worked at the University of Alabama, had close ties there. One worked in the athletic department when Nick Saban was the head football coach. So he has a lot of talent. I mean, to me, Freddie Roach is on the clock this year. I mean, he needs the D-line recruiting needs to improve, and then also the play needs to improve as well. They've got to get better along that defensive line. They've got to be more productive. They have a chance to have a good group, but they just got to get better.
Judy Arman, enjoy your high school football. I know you guys doing a big media day up there. You guys doing an amazing job of promoting high school football up in the northern part of the state and throughout the state of Alabama. I know that northern part really appreciates what you guys do, and you're doing media day. I appreciate you stepping away for a couple of minutes to give us in Tuscaloosa a couple of minutes of your time, and I know you'll be on with Gary tomorrow as well. Appreciate you, man, as always. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Ryan.
97.7 The Zone up in Huntsville, Alabama. The Rocket City, Drew D. Arman, 97.7 The Zone. We're taking phone calls. We'll get to Greg in Athens. We're going to throw around a lot of different stuff. But one thing that we'll talk about, we'll do it next with an audio clip right here on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
You with all of your CPAP needs, including the new Luna Travel CPAP. Call 339-8013 or stop by Mid-South in the Northbrook Plaza on McFarland Boulevard.
Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. Call Paul at 205-331-6823. Custom curbing for your home or business. Do away with those plastic individual stone borders. Go for that more permanent, decorative concrete border. No more grass growing between those individual stones. Cleaner to etch to maintain. They're willing to travel, not just here in Tuscaloosa, but also in our neighboring states as well over in Mississippi. Many colors and choices. They'll customize for that individual taste and house. Give them a call at 205-331-6823. You could also go to their Facebook account, Find their page. You can see exactly what the videos. They came out, did a free quote. Paul gave me an evaluation. Give them a call, 205-331-6823.
DEAL or text DEAL to 511-511.
Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
The best station in the state, breaking down Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
I bet you never heard old Marshall Dillon say, Miss Kitty, have you ever thought of running away? Settling down, would you marry me? If I ask you twice and beg you pretty please. She'd have said yes in a New York minute. They never tied a knot. His heart wasn't in it. He just stole a kiss as he rode away. He never hung his hat up at Kitty's place.
I want to remind you about R&R Cigars, 2703 6th Street, 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa, the Cigar Mansion. Relax and recharge. Relax and recharge. R&R Cigars. R&R Cigars, 2703 6th Street, 1,000 different cigars to choose from. The walk-in humidor that you'll find, R&R Cigars. Greatly appreciate them for being a part of our show. Let's go back to the Kalen DeBoer comment on Bama Standard, because you do look at the standard, and if you're Kalen DeBoer, you definitely want to be your own self, right? You want to be your own guy. You don't want to, pretend to be Nick Saban. I think this is one of the things that's made him so brilliant, the way that he's navigated this. Listen to him talking about the Bama Standard, because I think it's reaching out to understand a little bit more. Listen to what he's saying about the Bama Standard and kind of learning a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I actually took notes, and I still am taking notes, right? These guys have been here longer than I have. And, sometimes, we use a saying, you don't know what you don't know. And just trying to take it all in. And we want to do things, of course, I want to do things the way I've done them in some aspects, but embracing what is important to this program, the traditions that have happened over many years. But I think just when it really comes down to this team, it's about the work that we're doing right now and listening to them and hearing them out. I think that's the best thing you can do when you come in as a new coach is kind of meet them in the middle. And, we've worked together, and they understand that, I want this team to be a team that ultimately is player-led. Now, what does that mean? We've talked a lot about that. I'm going to provide the framework and the parameters and a lot of the organization that I feel has worked for me over many years. But, I also want them to have that buy-in and understand the why, not just what.
And you say, well, hold on a minute. Did Nick Saban do the same thing? He absolutely did. You know who he counted on? I'll tell you who he counted on. Ozzie Newsome. Ozzie Newsome was a former player here at the University of Alabama, a legendary general manager, Hall of Famer in both the college and the pro game. Ozzie Newsome was a close friend of Nick Saban because of their ties at the Cleveland Browns. He depended on Nick Saban depended on Ozzie Newsome to teach him about the traditions about the University of Alabama, to teach them about, hey, what is Yay Alabama? What is all these different things? What is, the traditions of Alabama Crimson Tide football? You almost like that part. Let him be who he is, but also understand that he's kind of saying, okay, I need to talk with these players. What's important to them? I like it. Let's go to Greg in Athens. Greg, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well, man.
Good afternoon, Ryan. I am 3 days out from having to return back to school for in-service. So I am trying to do as little as possible the next 3 days. But
now, hold on. Whoa. Hold on. When does classes start up there?
Well, so our first day of school is August 2nd. And normally teachers start back the last Monday in July, but for some reason they tacked on 2 extra days this year. So instead of starting next Monday, we're starting this Thursday. And I'm not on the calendar committee, and no one seems to want to say why or who came up with this wonderful idea. But it's not like when you and I were in high school. We had 12 weeks off. And
why is that? I mean, so is there a reason why? I mean, is it?
Yeah, there's a couple reasons. Okay. One is that people who've never done education said we needed more days to get kids smarter. Okay. Now, here's the thing that didn't exist when you and I were in school. Cell phones and laptops and mass media or social media. And so kids have gotten, for lack of a better word, in general, kids have gotten dumber because they are so tied into cellular devices. And I noticed in the state of Alabama that more and more districts are doing away with cell phone usage. They're not allowing them at school anymore.
Okay.
But that was one reason, and then of course, state legislators who think they know more about education than teachers do decided we needed more days of school because our kids are dumber.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, the "See You in September" has no more meaning because that used to be a song, right? See you in September. Yeah, it's no longer. I mean, I know I'm not a singer, but I mean, the gist of it. It was "See you in September." Now, I guess it's "See you in August."
Yeah, I remember, going into my senior year in high school up here in Athens. I think we started back like the 28th of August, and it was just a day, and then, or whatever it was, and then you had Labor Day weekend, and really that's when school really kicked off, was after Labor Day. But up here, and even in North Alabama, schools, I think, teachers report back next Monday for that. And of course, when we all went to school back in the day, AEA week is what they used to call spring break, and it was 1 week, a specific week for all 67 counties and all the associated school districts. And now Alabama has 11 different spring break weekend options, which is crazy.
Oh, wow. Okay. I did not realize that. Okay.
Well, yeah, it starts in early March and goes until April.
Gotcha. All right. From a sports perspective, Greg, enjoy your last couple of days here. Let's talk some Alabama Crimson Tide football. What's on your mind?
Well, I watched as much of the SEC Media Days as I could, not having gone this year, and there wasn't a lot of new news that came out. It wasn't like, back in, when was it, 18 or 19, when they announced that, Texas and Oklahoma would be joining the SEC. But I think everybody was mesmerized by Nick Saban, his presence there in the media and all. But I also think that most people that didn't know Kalen DeBoer were rather impressed with him after they got a chance to talk with him. And, I just think that Alabama is on a good, solid, firm foundation moving forward. And if you are one of those people who thought Alabama was going to wither on the vine, it ain't happening. So I'm just excited as we get ready for, fall practice and all, and to see the news coming up about who is stepping up into leadership roles on the team and who is separating themselves athletically.
I think leadership perspective, I like the leadership of this team, and I'll tell you why. I think they went through a very galvanizing moment. When Coach Saban retired, they had to rally the troops, and I think they did. I think leadership's going to be fine. I think leadership is going to be more than fine. I think they'll be fine. There's a couple things that I'm watching for. I mean, we talked about the defensive front a couple of minutes ago. I want to see a dominant guy there. Obviously, defensive back, we've harped on that a lot. Right tackle's another spot. Is Wilkin Formby that guy? Is Elijah Pritchett a guy that they flip to, from left to right? Because Caden Proctor is going to win that back. I mean, I think anybody that can, you go back to the Coach Cap that we spoke to a couple of months ago when he talked about, it's like Christmas morning getting Caden Proctor back. he's going to anchor that left tackle. That's not like even a bold prediction. It's an easy prediction. But who's going to fill that right tackle? Can Wilkin Formby hold it, or is Elijah Pritchett? That offensive line should be a lot better. And running backs, I think, are going to be better too.
Yeah, I think, the thing about running backs is that they're, to the most part, a couple of them played last year, but none of them were in a lead back role, and we'll see who's going to assume more of that. And then a lot of the questions about Alabama in regards to position battles and spots, these are going to be settled in the first 3 or 4 weeks of football, because when Georgia comes to town, you need to already know who you are, because by the fourth game, most teams know who they are. It's just, can you? We don't have a new QB this year. He doesn't have to go through all the peaks and valleys he went through last year. And as bad as Alabama's offensive line was last year, all we heard, preseason was that they were going to maul people, and they were disappointed. But they took care of Georgia's defensive line and pushed them around at will. So I think you'll see whoever they decide on, and you may see a couple of guys platooning at right tackle all year, is that you will see the growth. Because when you have growth as the season progresses, you also have more consistency and better outcomes, Ryan.
Yeah, I did interviews this morning, and I probably did 20 interviews out in Dallas, maybe, right around 15 to 20 interviews. I mean, I didn't go through and count them. But when I would look at them and I would tell them some of the things that you and I and many others have discussed, because I looked at them and I'm like, this coaching staff is going to be better than what Coach Saban had, top to bottom, 1 through 11, 10 assistant coaches plus the head coach. Obviously, Nick Saban was top-heavy because he's the greatest football coach to ever walk the sidelines, but his assistant coaches, some of them were not as strong. I mean, we just kind of assumed, okay, Nick Saban's going to have the best, and that's not the case. It was not the case. It was one of those that when you back up and you look at these assistant coaches, some of these guys were rather weak. Coleman Hutzler, ooh, Lord have mercy. He couldn't coach wee football over at Kentucky. Now he's a Mississippi State defensive coordinator, so he could recruit, but he couldn't coach. And he was, I heard from too many people behind the scenes, weak. And I'm not sure, when you look back at Tommy Rees, probably a C+ offensive coordinator, and that's probably stretching it a little bit.
Yeah, Tommy was, you could see it on his face at times. He was perplexed or overmatched in certain situations. And, his game plan against Michigan, they didn't make any. Alabama's always been known for making great second half adjustments, whether it's offense or defense. And offensively, they didn't seem to adjust as well. They had trouble all game with the line. And I just think that this year you're going to see, even if it takes a while, much better output from those guys up front than you had last year, because Alabama has the best, guard-to-guard combination in the SEC, if not in college football. It's just, how good are our tackles going to be, and can we see the improvement?
Good stuff. Hey, Greg, appreciate you, man. Enjoy the next couple of days. Get all the stress, built up where you got a little bit of tolerance before you get back to August.
Ryan, I'm a stress-free guy. School doesn't bother me. I don't have problems at school with kids because I'm open and honest with them. Okay. I care about them all, whether you're the A kid and your dad's a lawyer, or you live in the worst part of town and you don't know where your next meal is. I try to reach everybody I can, and I don't lose sleep over that.
That's a good way to great philosophy. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate you, man, as always.
Hey, roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Right back to you, Greg, up in Athens, Alabama. Let's continue with more phone calls. We'll break here. We'll continue. Let me tell you about the Wharf. 1976, the Working Western headquarters for the entire family. you'll find him at the Wharf. Justin, Tony Lama, Red Wing, Georgia, Double H, Timberline, Laredo, and many more. It is right there between El Gran and also the Blue Plate. You will find our good folks right there at the Wharf since 1976. The Working Western headquarters located on McFarland Boulevard. Since 1976, the Working Western headquarters for the entire family. We'll continue taking more phone calls. We'll talk to Barrett Sallee coming up in about 40 minutes. Paul and Lincoln, we'll get to you coming up in a couple of minutes. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Brands you trust in-store or online today. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 7/26. While supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Where college football season never ends. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9.
That's big boy football.
And streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Squeeze in Paul against the top of the hour break. I'm going to take him after the 3 o'clock hour. We'll take him in 2 minutes. DCH, great things are happening at DCH for over 90 years of serving our community. 90 years, Regional Medical Center. Also in Northport, Fayette Medical Center, DCH Hospital, DCHHealthSystem.com. We'll take Paul and Lincoln, and we've got more audio clips that we're going to dive into. And we're going to introduce another couple of topics. We'll talk with Martin Houston coming up at 4, 3:30, Barrett Sallee, Paul and Lincoln, Wayne in Northport, I see you. We're headed your way in a couple of minutes. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230, WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Kevin Wyatt.
Couple of pieces of NFL news. Packers quarterback Jordan Love will not practice until he and the team can agree on a contract extension. However, there is optimism from both sides that a deal will get done. Bengals head coach Zach Taylor speaking to the media earlier this morning, saying that quarterback Joe Burrow has been fully cleared for contact as training camp begins later this week. And news regarding college football, as The Athletic is saying there is still no long-term agreement between Oregon State, Washington State, and the Mountain West Conference for the remaining Pac-12 schools to play those from the Mountain West in football. And both sides have said that an agreement for 2025 must.
Locally owned and operated since 1971 with 2 locations to serve you. 15th Street, Tuscaloosa, and McFarland Boulevard in Northport. Online at paintspot.org.
Alabama Credit Union with the official countdown to Alabama Crimson Tide football right here on the game, alabamacu.com. The mobile app saves a lot of time. The mobile deposits, checking, savings, mortgage, home equity loan, financing a vehicle, the great competitive rates. Alabama.
866-509-TERM. 866-509-TERM. 866-509-TERM.
Rumsey Environmental, a one-stop shop serving West Alabama for all of your waste removal needs. If you're in the construction business, take a little bit of stress out of your life. The construction debris removal containers customized to fit your job site, the portable toilet service, the storage containers to protect your valuables. It's Rumsey Environmental for that complete waste removal service. When you have to know it's being done right, that's the time to call Rumsey Environmental. 205-248-0002, RumseyEnvironmental.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky cloudy at times through tonight. The chance of a few passing showers or thunderstorms. The high today 86, the low tonight 71. Tomorrow mostly cloudy with scattered to numerous showers and storms around. The high 85. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Tuscaloosa Tide at 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're talking about that galvanizing moment around Alabama Crimson Tide football, and we were talking about leadership a couple of minutes ago. Who's going to be the leader? I think that is not a big problem on this Alabama team, and we're kind of identifying for you when you look at, is it cornerback? Is it safety? You feel pretty comfortable there with Malachi Moore and Keon Sabb. But then listen to Kalen DeBoer, because the guys that are here, they want to be here. Listen to Kalen DeBoer on Sirius XM, Channel 84 out in Dallas, how he addressed this. He was asked the question is, what is the most challenging part of your job? Listening to him, he goes back that first 30 days when coach departs and that portal is open. Listen to how he responded to this comment. Listen how he said, talking about these players and how much feedback they were getting around the country.
I think the biggest challenge I said earlier with some of the digital media there was the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, just really trying to put the staff together. But even more importantly, probably at the time, was trying to just retain the players. The portal opens up for 30 days there. And, this clock started when Coach, retired. And, just all of that time, you almost forget about the intensity of what it was, because there was so much noise around not just the program, but just in these guys, back pocket. When I say back pocket, their cell phones just blowing up, and, a lot of people looking for a playmaker. And these guys, obviously, on a 12-2 team, a lot of playmakers that were recruited probably by many of these coaches around the country. And so it probably gives me an even more appreciation for them because of what they went through and how hard that was, and for them to just stay the course and continue to be consistent. And now here we are. I think we had a great spring. We're far from where we need to be. We know that. But we're really looking forward to the fall camp, and we're going to have some growth, throughout the season as well. We know that.
All right, so there it is. That's Kalen DeBoer, and you talk about that galvanizing moment. I think when you listen back at Tyler Booker, you listen back at some of the comments, he looked at it and said, hey, that's why my legacy cannot be bought, because I believe others were for sale and others may have taken that money. Let's go to Paul in Lincoln. Hey, Paul, good afternoon, my friend. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
I'm doing well, Ryan. Let's all embrace the suck first. We can't forget that. We can't leave that out.
How do you spell that, Paul?
That's SAUCK.
What does the AU stand for? That's a weird way to spell suck.
It is, but it stands, that AU is for the mighty Lee County Tigers.
Okay.
Ryan. The Auburn Tigers down in Lee County, down Lee County way.
Okay. The ones that were picked, 10th, the 11th in the SEC?
10th.
Okay, yeah.
10th. The last one out of the building, their head coach, the face of their program, Hugh Hefner Hunter-Freeze, was the last person out of the building, so he turned the lights out. He turned the lights out of the where you guys assembled for SEC Media Day. So that's got to make the Auburn.
You heard what Wyatt said. He said it was like a ghost town when Auburn and Kentucky was there at the end.
When your program does not move the needle whatsoever,
none.
What do you expect? What do you expect? That is the most mediocre, no juice, just a deplorable program that in the SEC right now. For a program that touts themselves as being a blue blood, and they try to convince themselves they are, they're as mediocre as you can get. I mean, come on. They move the needle. They move the needle right now, kind of like South Carolina, Kentucky.
I wish we could. It's kind of like getting politics and asking people what do they really think. But I'd love to get an Auburn fan. Do they see this? Do they see this coming? Do they see what type of gutter they're in, or are they all in denial?
Well, I think it's as long as you've got the media types that cover them, like the Philip Marshalls, the Jeffrey Lees, the Cole Pinkstons, the Justin Hogans, they're desperate. They're going to feed that fan base whatever it takes to keep them engaged. So I'm I know there are some in that fan base that they can handle reality, and the reality is that program is in a ditch. It's been in a ditch for quite a while, and I don't see it getting out of the ditch anytime soon. So yeah, I mean, there's some that they're convinced that they're just they're a season away, they're a recruiting class away, and the Right Reverend Hugh Hefner Hunter Freeze is the man to take them there. But I don't see it. I don't see it right now, Ryan. And as long as we've got our foot on their throat, let's ratchet it up a little bit. Let's keep it on their throat, and just don't let them up. Just don't let them up. Beat them to a bloody pulp. I mean, we've got a chance. We had some hot takes, I guess, late spring, early June maybe, and one of my hot takes was Bama by 40 in Tuscaloosa this year. Bama by 40, and I'm going to stick to that. This game is not in Lee County this year. The ghosts, the goblins, the voodoo, the skeletons of Lee County will not play a part in this dismemberment that we're going to see in Tuscaloosa come November. So that's one thing we don't have to worry about: the ghosts and the ghouls of Lee County. So
all right,
get ready.
When you look at this September the 28th, you brought that up and kind of worked that way through that part. I met more people out in Dallas, Texas, that have actually believed that Alabama was going to be able to beat Georgia. Like there's not as much doubt out there. If you sit down and talk with some of the analysts that I trust, no, I'm talking about non-Alabama analysts. I mean, yeah, you got people from Alabama sidelines. Yeah, they think they can beat Georgia, but there's a lot of people believing that, hey, from a national perspective, that Alabama's got a chance. I think Alabama is trending upward. It's not.
I do too. I think since spring practice was completed, I think Alabama has been slowly pushing the needle upwards with how Coach DeBoer has handled this program in such a short time. But June was like a June that we've never seen, Ryan, before. I'm even maybe under Coach Saban. I know we had some great Junes as far as commitments go and recruiting, but for a first year coach to follow Coach Saban with a brand new coaching staff other than Coach Gillespie and Coach Roach, what we saw in June was unparalleled. I mean, nobody, the day Coach DeBoer got off the jet and onto the tarmac in Tuscaloosa, could have ever foreseen a June like we saw.
Cold summer. It's cold. It's cold.
Very, very cold summer. Ryan, you mentioned Oatmeal Joe coming to work for you earlier.
We have he put in an application, and we're going to consider him because we're an equal opportunity. How do you say that? Equal opportunity employer?
Equal opportunity employer.
We do not discriminate against race, religion, or disability.
Ryan, I've got a legitimate
including being an
Ryan.
Auburn fan.
No, I mean, if you're an Auburn guy and you want to apply, I had actually had an Auburn intern one time.
Well, you told us that story. Ryan, I got a legitimate question. I really do.
Okay.
Is Oatmeal Joe still among the living? Think about it. Think about it. Let's just think. Let's play this thing out.
Okay.
The Monday, it was a Monday or Tuesday after the assassination attempt on President Trump. Oatmeal Joe flies to Las Vegas for some speaking engagements. Okay. And by midweek, by Thursday, the news comes down that he's contracted COVID. And as far as I know, Ryan,
has anybody seen him? Okay.
I have not seen a public appearance from Oatmeal Joe.
Well, now we got an application, so somebody filled it out.
Well, Ryan, just check this out. Now, check this out. Sometimes I like to get off in the weeds a little bit.
No, me, you.
Well, Ryan, somebody that we follow, Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA, he put out a tweet today, Ryan, and said that he kind of brushed this off when he first heard it after the Vegas trip. But there's some fire, there's some smoke out there, Ryan, that there was a medical emergency.
There was a medical, and
a medical emergency, and that the Secret Service told the Metro Las Vegas PD department to start shutting down roads and highways because we're headed to the medical center. And 15 minutes later, they canceled that request. And you have not heard one thing from Oatmeal Joe since then. That's been well over a week. So I'm just thinking out loud.
I hope nothing, physically happens to him.
Really, right. Yeah. Listen, I'm serious. I do too.
I mean I've said some
bad things. Right. I've said some really bad things, and I'm not going to take any of that back, Ryan. But I'm going to be honest with you. I want, and hopefully he's still with us. I wanted him to be able to see what happens this coming November.
Okay.
Yeah. That's kind of my angle there. But really and truly, Ryan, he has not surfaced, to my knowledge, not one time.
Okay.
Not one time.
And we'll look for him. If we see him, we'll let you know. But I did see where Bet Online put out a poll today, a betting odds that Nick Saban is a 250-1 odds on becoming the vice president nominee.
Oh, Nick. Well, is that with Joe Manchin running, or is that with?
It does not say. It just says, and I can read it to you. I thought it was pretty cool. But they got a bunch of guys on here. Like they got.
Sure.
I didn't realize that Mark Cuban was on the left side of things. Did you?
Oh yeah, he's pretty left.
Is he?
He's pretty left. Okay. Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, you think people that make a lot of cash really don't generally do that way because it just means more taxes. But I was looking through this and I'm like 250 odds, 250-1 odds for Nick Saban, a couple of other names, but I mean that Joe Manchin. He's enough of a moderate. He would actually scare me a little bit.
Yeah, but he was so disgusted with the Democratic Party that he went independent, and now he's thinking about I don't know if he would come back as an independent or try to jump back into the Democratic Party. I'm not sure, but anyway, I tell you what, if Oatmeal Joe is still among the living, I got a perfect landing spot for him. He would be perfect as an analyst for Hugh Hefner, Hunter Freeze down in Lee County.
Well,
am I right?
I think that's a really good point. Like, what jobs could Joe get? He could be a.
Well, they have a few things in common. They like young girls, and so I think it'd be a marriage made in heaven.
I think. Would you vote for Nick Saban as VP though?
Would I vote for Nick Saban?
Yeah.
Heck no, ain't no way.
You're like, okay, man, you could be my football coach, but political.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Stay out of it, Nick.
Yeah,
stay out of it. Enjoy your life.
Yeah, you don't do the politics thing. Don't do this.
No,
but
no.
Nick Saban is tied with Oprah Winfrey at 250-1s. Yeah.
Could you see heels up reaching out to Nick to be her vice president? Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so I looked at it as 2024 vice president nominee.
Oh my god!
And there's a bunch of these names and that's the issue is they don't really have an up and coming superstar, and they're afraid to run like AOC, right? I mean, she's
yeah.
So
I mean, they're looking at guys like Andy Beshear, the governor of Kentucky, Shapiro, the governor of
Hillary's on, and everybody's favorite mayor. He's on here 100-1. Elizabeth Warren 125. Like there is no superstars.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They got a. Their bullpen, Ryan, is not very deep. Not very deep at all.
No. It's kind of reminds you of like Auburn football coaches. Just, not very good.
Absolutely.
Not very good. But Nick, I did see Nick Saban. I was like, okay, 250. And you know what this does, right? It is throwing it out there. It's throwing it out there from a standpoint because it gets publicity. And people say, hold on, this is a real bet? Yes, you can go and throw your money at this bookie and they'll take it. BetOnline.ag. They just got a free plug.
Exactly. Do that. And, 250 to 1. I would have thought Nick would have got a little better odds of that.
Hey, I wonder if I could call them up and say, I'll take the other side. Can I take it that he won't be the VP nominee? What can I get for that? Okay, well, perfect. I'll lay some cash on that. But that would be the Nick
best.
Nick Saban is too smart to get in politics.
Of course he is.
Yeah,
of course he is.
He's not willing to. And plus the inefficiency of Washington D.C. Nick Saban is a programmed individual. He likes
it would drive him crazy.
Yeah, and
it
even
would
I heard
absolutely
it.
drive
We heard
him
it
crazy.
from Tubbs. When we interviewed Tubbs a few months ago, I said, "Well, what have you learned in a couple of years up in Washington D.C.?" Very simple. He said, "How unorganized it really is."
No, it is. It is. It is.
But remember now, college football bureaucrats are looking to Washington D.C. for answers. We're looking to Washington, D.C. to help out and to bail us out of the disaster that we've got in the world of college athletics. Paul, I got to run, man. Appreciate you.
Okay, buddy. Roll Tide and roll MAGA.
Right back to you. Paul and Lincoln will continue with more. We'll get to your phone calls. Wayne and Northport, don't go anywhere. Barrett's Lee coming up in about 15 minutes. T-Town Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
This hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
Alabama political leaders are reacting to President Biden dropping out of the presidential race. West Alabama Democrat Congresswoman Terry Sewell posted that Biden will go down in history as one of the most consequential and transformational leaders America has ever seen. Alabama's unemployment rate remained a record 2.2% in the month of June, but the percentage of those unemployed remains at 57.7%. Tuscaloosa's unemployment rate at 2.9%. And rain every day this week is expected to help break.
Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence 9 test under high-load conditions versus API SP test limits.
The game is powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. David DeSantis, the largest selection of new Toyotas in over 3 years, can be found on Skyline Boulevard, 3325 Skyline Boulevard. Also a nice inventory of pre-owned inventory. You can find the new Tundra, the 2024, the Tacoma 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. How about a new 4Runner, Highlander, RAV4, Camry, Corolla? For those outside of Tuscaloosa, save.
You trust in-store or online today. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 7/26. While supplies last. Selection varies by location.
With only 43 seconds remaining, facing a 4th and goal from the 31-yard line at Jordan-Hare Stadium, quarterback Jalen Milroe finds himself under immense pressure, scrambling to connect with Isaiah Bond in the corner of the end zone for a miraculous come-from-behind victory over Auburn. The jaw-dropping 27-24 result came on the 10th anniversary of the Kick Six. Daniel Moore is proud to announce 4th and 31, his upcoming oil painting featuring the now famous Gravedigger play. New Life Art is now accepting pre-orders for limited edition fine art prints and canvases of 4th and 31. See the preliminary pencil sketch for the artist's full color painting at DanielMooreArt.com. Pre-order your artwork now by calling 1-800-735-2787 or by visiting DanielMooreArt.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky cloudy at times through tonight. The chance of a few passing showers or thunderstorms. The high today 86, the low tonight 71. Tomorrow mostly cloudy with scattered to numerous showers and storms around. The high 85. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Follow the Crimson Tide on their journey to another national championship.
Touchdown, Alabama!
On your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
I'm throwing you a curveball down and away, but you had a chance to visit with Malachi Moore. What did you take from that? Because I know we were all kind of busy rotating it because we didn't have a chance to talk about that. But what did you take from Malachi Moore? Anything?
I thought it was good. Of course, everybody. I was sitting there in the media scrum with Malachi whenever they did the player breakouts, and I think he got 6 questions on what he thought about Coach Saban picking Texas and Georgia.
Okay.
Just different media guys kept coming up, asking him. They weren't around for when the question first got asked, so they asked it again to make sure they got their clip and their quote, whatever. But I thought Malachi would have, really, I wanted to think about what has not been tackled with these guys yet. They've been asked every question about Coach Saban, every question about Coach DeBoer. So I sat here and I thought, what do I want to hear from Malachi? So I asked him the difference in scheme between Coach Saban's defenses and Kane Womack's defense. Some of the difference between the pattern matching and versus the vision scheme that he's running now, and he gave a great answer on that.
The players love it when you ask those type of questions.
He gave a great answer there. I asked him a little bit about what he thought about leader-wise, who he thinks the leaders are going to be. He mentioned Deontay Lawson in there as well. I asked about the secondary. He spoke very highly of a lot of the freshmen and Dominique Jackson. So was very excited. It was very good to get that interview. I was excited for it.
Yeah, and we have an intern that played football. He came in here from California. Everybody remembers Kendall Holloway. Kendall was a guy played at Wyoming, was a defensive back. He does like Jackson. He said he wants to see him be a little bit more physical, but he's a big fan of Jackson. Let's go to Wayne in Northport. Wayne, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well, man.
Good afternoon. Doing well. Hope your trip to Dallas went well.
No, it did. It did. Much better than some of my media colleagues that got delayed in the airport.
Yeah, exactly. The guys that left on stayed for Thursday and had to leave on Friday. Boy, were they in for a rude awakening, huh?
I tried to tell them hanging out with Auburn always comes with a cost.
Hey, yeah, it does. But anyway, oh, man. I think the leadership on this team is fine.
Me too.
I think the 3 guys he took to Dallas are the 3 leaders of this football team. I'll just put it that simply, and I feel good in the hands of those leaders. I think this team's in good shape.
Okay. So what is the one thing that concerns you? Like, what would prevent Alabama from reaching the top?
What would prevent us from reaching the top is if our young secondary pieces don't develop. I think our offensive line is going to be fine. I hope one of 2 things happens. Either Eli Pritchett matures and stays out of the off-the-field stuff, or Wilkin Formby takes his spot. One of the 2.
Okay. Well, I think it's going to be a battle. I think it's going to be a battle. I think it's going to be a battle with that right tackle spot. I like what Wilkin Formby's been able to do. I say this. He has put in the effort to put himself in a position to anchor that right side, to be able to be the right tackle. You've seen him go out with Duke Manyweather, which is offensive line masterminds. He's trained at multiple different places across the country. He has busted his butt to put himself in a position. And, from a local perspective, Wayne, I hate to say this, but it was the same way with Brian Robinson. We pull for these local guys. We do. And we get a chance to get to know these guys, and, we have a little bias towards these local guys.
It's just the things with Eli off the field, Eli Pritchett, Elijah Pritchett worries me a little bit. He's had a couple of off-the-field incidents, and I just hope he matures if he's the guy. That's all I'll say about that.
You got to make wiser decisions, man, before they can trust you on the field. You got to be able to trust you off the field.
Exactly, and I hope you had a good time in Dallas. I know Dallas is near and dear to your heart. And don't worry, if you lose Dak, you can always draft Jalen Milroe.
Well, Dak's wanting a new payday. He just got one a couple of years ago. Now he's wanting like $60 million a year. So
I know. That's what I said. If you lose Dak, you can always draft Jalen Milroe. And I think you'll be happy with that by the end of the year. I'll just say that. I think he's going to have that good a year. We'll see you, buddy.
Thank you, Wayne. We appreciate that. Barrett Sallee coming up next, then Robert in Mobile first out of the gate. Martin Houston coming up in about 35 minutes. More of your calls, 205-342-9904. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
And globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America NA.
The longest running sports show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
If you fill my last request, prop me up beside the jukebox if I die. Lord, I want to go to heaven, but I don't want to go tonight. Fill my boots up with sand, put a stiff drink in my hand. Prop me up beside the jukebox if I die. I just let my headstone be a neon sign. I just let it burn in memory of all of my good times.
Oh, this song's got me a little cracked up with Paul and Lincoln a couple of minutes ago. He's looking for Joe. We don't know where Joe is. Joe, where you at? Where you at? We just know that he's not going to be on the ballot coming up in November. Or will he be? We don't know. I mean, it's kind of chaos on that side of the ticket. But anyway, we'll put that chaos on the side. And we'll talk to Barrett Sallee, SEC Smothered and Covered, Sirius XM Channel 84. He was live out there on Radio Row in Dallas, Texas. Barrett, did you have an easy time getting back to the ATL?
I did. I was just fine. I left Thursday mid-afternoon, so did not get stuck with all that nonsense. But I heard some of our fellow media members had some issues. That's for sure.
Yes. I saw a bunch of them calling out airlines, which we do from time to time. We use that media power. I mean, especially you've got 100 and so many thousand people following you. I don't really make that type of impact. I've got about 25,000 on the Twitter account, maybe a few more thousand on the Facebook. But, every now and then you kind of drop, hey, I'm in the media business. You want to put me on that flight?
Well, I mean, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, right?
Sure. But what'd you think about Dallas overall? Did you enjoy it?
Not really.
Really? Okay.
I mean, look, it's fine. It's fine. Is it anything that, I would, do I want it to go back there? Nah, not really. I think that it's fine staying where it is going to be, where, Nashville, Atlanta, I've heard New Orleans. So is it a bad place? No. Would I choose something different? Yeah, I would choose something different.
Okay. So, but you look at, learning anything. What was your big takeaway from hearing the coaches or just any takeaway? Talking to media members, listening to other people talk, listening to other people get interviewed up in a press room. What was your number one takeaway?
I guess my number one takeaway was that everybody seemed happy, but I think for me, Tennessee and Josh Heupel that was very different than what I've seen from him before. Now, usually he's not standoffish. He's kind of bland. You can tell he doesn't want to be there. He seems like he not only wanted to be there, but is thrilled that he can showcase his team, in this way. So, I think for overall, that was one thing that stood out in a huge way. I think also to hear, the Georgia players act so professional and not worry about last year was interesting. I think Kalen DeBoer, and we talked about this on your show last week, Kalen DeBoer was kind of like a very polite and friendly Nick Saban. His tone was different, and he seemed more approachable, but he didn't tell you anything. Just like Nick never really told you anything.
Yeah. Well, most coaches don't, though. I mean, the good
most coaches don't. Correct. Most coaches don't, and that's okay. But yeah, it's to me that was those I think were the kind of the key takeaways, I guess.
The one thing for me was, as you sit there and you visit with different media members who cover different teams, is you walk and you say, everybody has problems. Everybody has problems. It's the new college football that we live in. Not everybody has answers to, even Georgia. You could probably pick apart their roster and go, well, this is why they won't be there standing at the end when we make it back to Atlanta in the national title game.
Yeah, it's hard to sort of gauge who's going to be who. But I mean, look, I think you're right. It's one of those things. Every single time we go through media days, you kind of wonder what the end of the season is going to hold. And some of it's with coaching, with what happens with Shane or with Sam, and some of it's like, wow, some of these guys are going to get thrust in the spotlight they haven't seen in a very, very long time. So yeah, it's going to be fascinating. There's no doubt.
What'd you think about Nick Saban getting a field named after him? Not a stadium, not a street, but a field named after him.
I'm fine with it. I mean, I'm okay with it. I don't see why anybody would it's just the same thing with other schools. I mean, Pat Dye Field, Vince Dooley Field. I think you're not going to rename Bryant-Denny Stadium Nick Saban Stadium. At least not right now. I mean, look, down the road, sure, maybe, but right now, I don't see how you can do that. So I'm perfectly fine with it. I have no problem. Giving somebody that kind of respect. I think you can't really do it. You can't rename the stadium now, right? If you're going to rename it Nick Saban Stadium, you got to wait a little while. And for me, I have no problem. He deserves that. Especially, I think Pat Dye saw it in his lifetime. Vince saw it in his lifetime. It's one of those things you need to enjoy while you're alive. If they rename the stadium after you later, okay. But having some part of it, is always, I think, important for anybody. A legend like him, absolutely. Totally cool with it.
Well, but it needs to be more. I'm okay with a field named after him, but what else are you going to name after him? Because in my eyes, Nick Saban is better than Coach Paul Bear Bryant. Paul Bear Bryant's got a half a dozen things named after him on campus. Somehow, some way, and I know it's new buildings and you get a chance to you don't change the names, but is anybody from Denny's family around that can, be opposed to this? Please come to the front of the stage and debate. I just look at Nick Saban because, Barrett, you were raised in the South. You understand what college football means to so many different people. Nick Saban not only saved Alabama football, he probably saved this university because this place was unrecognizable.
Yeah.
He changed all that.
No, he did. He did. But wouldn't you rather Bear Bryant was such an important part of that entire entire program.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't see how you would do that. I can't see how you would.
Bryant's name off there. I'm not advocating that. I mean, it's only been up there since 1997. They rededicated the field.
Only 97?
Yeah, well, they played BYU in 97 or 98. Yeah, it was. Yeah, so they rededicated the stadium and called it Bryant-Denny Stadium.
It seems so long ago.
Because it was just, it was Denny Stadium. So, and like I said, I understand he was a president back in the 1920s and how important he was. But, I can also look at Nick Saban, too, and I can think about how important he was. Because if Alabama hired one more bad coach, they may never been able to recover.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, think about what could have happened if I always go back to this sort of, butterfly effect. What if Mike Price hadn't done what Mike Price had done?
I'm thankful he did.
And then you go back to what if Nick Saban had signed Drew Brees instead of Dante Culpepper? All those things are just fascinating.
We did a what if conversation a couple of weeks ago, and we interviewed the general manager of the Miami Dolphins, Randy Mueller. He was Nick Saban's general manager, and he explained how close they were to signing Drew Brees. He said it was like there were 6 physicians that did a physical. 5 of the 6 signed off, but the one who did not sign off was the one that had the power. And he said, "Nope, I cannot say." He said it was close, and he said we all thought we were going to get him. And this guy walks in and says, "I'm not signing off on this. I'm not signing off."
That is crazy.
Yeah, how close it would have been, because if he gets his quarterback, he's not leaving the NFL.
Absolutely not. He would have won. I firmly believe, had Nick Saban signed Drew Brees, he would have won Super Bowls, plural, and he would never have left. He would have been there forever.
But, I also think it was, the impact of both of these, Terry and Nick Saban. Maybe there's a way that you can honor both. And one of the callers who brought up, one of the guests who brought up last week said, why not name a coaching award after Coach Saban? And that needs to be
I think that's fine.
Need to be facilitated because like Coach Paul Bear Bryant Award, I believe that's out of College Station, out of Bryan, Texas. Coach Stallings,
right.
is out of there. Coach Dodd's out of Georgia Tech. So it needs to be sponsored by the university, and it probably might even be a revenue stream for a banquet and all those different things that they do. So
I 100% would agree. And I think I'd wonder where that would come out of too. I mean, I think that would have to probably it would not. You can't do it like from just Alabama because he's been so successful. I mean, LSU would want to get involved. What is it? The Ray Guy Award is out of Tallahassee Football Club, or maybe Ray Guy. Biletnikoff.
Yeah, Ray Guy's out of Southern Miss.
Ray Guy is Augusta.
Oh, it is Augusta. Okay. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it'd be fascinating to see how that would operate because to me, it can't just be an Alabama thing.
Yeah.
It would have to be an Alabama and LSU thing.
Well, and Collier, our radio buddy out in Little Rock, David Basil, who has done an amazing job. It's one of the, very productive. It's the Little Rock Touchdown Club, and he's got. Help me with it. What's the name of it? It's named after the assistant coach.
The Broyles Award.
Yeah, it's Frank Broyles Award. Yeah, that's what it is. But I mean, he founded that and developed it, and now it's a little moneymaker for
Yeah, and they do a great job over there. Like Basil, that's his baby, man. That is his baby, and he will fight for that thing until he dies. How great that is! But they do a phenomenal job.
And he was a former player there at Arkansas that played with Coach Frank Broyles. So he's got a little heart in it, and maybe one of these players take that challenge and say, "Hey, let's do it for Coach Saban." And there's a lot of coaches awards, but I mean, to me, he's the greatest to ever walk the sidelines.
Yeah.
17 years, 6 national titles, 9 conference titles. I mean, you could look at all the different things that he's been able to accomplish. Let me ask you, when you look back at the SEC polling that was released by the media, anything that jumped out to you?
Not necessarily all that much. I think the Missouri love, I mean, I'm just still... I don't know about that. I'm happy Tennessee got the love that it did. The Vanderbilt and South Carolina thing, it's fine. I know people raised a big deal. They had a big deal about that, but it's like, come on, it's fun. People don't take it seriously, and I guarantee you the SEC will look at who made those decisions and not invite them back. But yeah, honestly, it was pretty much as expected. I looked at mine and I kind of broke a few surprises down on SEC Smothered and Covered, not necessarily in the standings themselves or the predictions themselves, but how I differed. And I was surprised. I surprised myself in that I did not think that LSU would be as high in my predicted order of finishes. Were they tied for third? And with Alabama and Ole Miss, and that's kind of just how it spit out for me. I take the helmet schedule. I go win loss all the way down, and then whatever it spits out is whatever it spits out. Right? I'm not going to sit here and do a power ranking. I'm going to take this thing seriously. I think a lot of people, treat it as kind of a power ranking going in, which is not what it's supposed to be. I was surprised with myself with where I had LSU tied for third, and then I had Auburn tied for whatever was next up, sixth, after the ties for third. So, that it wasn't necessarily with what the predictions were. It's that how I differentiated myself and surprised myself with how I voted.
Let me ask you about Oklahoma, because they're right behind Tennessee. Texas A&M's behind them. Auburn's behind them. Kentucky's behind them. Florida, South Carolina, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt. What do you think about Oklahoma in year number 1 in the SEC?
They're the schedule's tough. I love the fact that they've got some dudes defensively. The offensive line is not good, and that's the biggest thing, is you got to be successful in the SEC with your offensive line, and Oklahoma doesn't have that. They have had that in the past, but to me, I think right now it's the one key spot in which they've neglected themselves, and I think when you have a new quarterback in Jackson Arnold, that is a massive, massive problem. I think he's a talented kid. I think maybe his the hype is a little bit too much right now. But to me, they're still talented enough to win, 7-8 games. That's not something that they're going to accept. in Norman, but I think it's realistic. I think it's something that they need to be happy with and content with in year one. And so I think long term, I've said this for a while now, I think are going to be a lot like Auburn, Tennessee, maybe even Florida now, with the way they operate. They're going to be an 8-4 style team. And then at times they're going to pop. And when they pop, they're going to be really, really good. But until, right now they have to prove it, and they haven't proved it yet. And so, but I think ultimately they'll be fine. But I think if they're coming in expecting to dominate the SEC, that's just not going to happen, at least not right now.
You can find Barrett Sallee on the Twitter account, connect with all the things that he's able to do, SiriusXM, ESPNU, Channel 84. You can also find him right there on the SEC Smothered and Covered. You can find him on YouTube. You can find him on Facebook. Get it where you get your podcast. Barrett Sallee, I appreciate you, man. Have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, Ryan. Good seeing you last week. You too.
Hey, absolutely. Thank you. Barrett Sallee. We'll come back. Robert and Mobile coming up next. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Find us on Facebook, Andrew Conifer Agency. Once again, you can reach us at 205-722-9201. Allstate, are you in good hands?
Northport Power Equipment, largest inventory Husqvarna dealer in the Southeast. You'll find the Husqvarna models for residential and the professional landscapers, Skag commercial mowers, residential mowers, backpack blowers, handheld blowers, battery-operated tools. The service department at Northport Power Equipment.
Cocktails around and our cigar selection is legendary. Our lounge and service are world-class. Come and experience the luxury of the mansion and see why it's a world-renowned cigar and spirits destination.
El Gran is the great Mexican place in Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Go over and see my friends Carlos, 205-391-4555, 62 McFarland Boulevard, Monday through Thursday from 11 until 9:30, Friday and Saturday 11 until 10:30, Sunday also open 11 until 9. You'll find the great daily lunch specials. You'll find great entrees, including the great fajitas, great desserts. The kids menu, always welcome. The call-ahead orders as well. El Gran on McFarland Boulevard. You'll find it at the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky cloudy at times through tonight. The chance of a few passing showers or thunderstorms. The high today 86, the low tonight 71. Tomorrow mostly cloudy with scattered to numerous showers and storms around. The high 85. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
The best sports talk in the state. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And it's a great day to be alive. I know the sun's still shining when I close my eyes. There's some hard times in the neighborhood, but why can't every day be just this good? Since I left home and said good luck to every seed I'd sown. Gave it my best and then I left it alone. I hope there's doing
Robert in Mobile. Robert, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Hey, man.
Robert, I'm so sorry I missed your call yesterday, and I know I haven't had a chance to return your call, but you and I will catch up, I promise, off the air.
Oh, that's no problem.
I was hanging out with a bunch of like-minded folks up at the Deer Expo.
Maybe on Free For All Friday, I'll tell you what I really think about all this Jim dropping out business. Hey, your guest earlier was talking about Kirby Smart's going to get the idea of, what it's like to be everybody's Super Bowl without Nick Saban around. I think what you asked, is Kirby going to be the elder statesman of college football that everybody listens to? That's what kind of what you guys were saying?
We were.
Yeah, you're totally right about that. And by both accounts, Kirby is going to be the elder statesman for now of college football. I guess the Nick Saban light. And, he's going to find out. We'll see how well he handles being the man for the next couple of years or however long it takes till DeBoer gets Alabama, dethrones him.
So we'll see how he handles that. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting year for them.
You know, that's a great point. What if DeBoer beats Kirby not once but twice? What if they're not there at the end and DeBoer comes in and beats Kirby Smart in year number one? Not saying that he flies up that radar, but you can't argue with the record. I mean, we were talking about winning percentage against top 25 teams. He has the winning percentage right now more than anybody in the country when you look at wins against top 25 teams.
Oh, really? Wow, that's a nice start. Yeah, it won't. But put it this way, it won't take long for him to dethrone Kirby with that script A on his team, because I mean that's going to be huge. You know, people are going to if he wins pretty quick. Now I'm not saying he can do it in one season. You're not going to dethrone Kirby in one season, but if it gets to be season 2 and especially season 3. Yeah, the dethroning will happen really quick. So we'll see how it goes for Kirby being, the heir apparent, supposedly, in college football. Which right now, okay, you are. So we'll see how you handle it. And it depends on how Kirby handles it. Because teams are going to come in saying, hey, if I beat you, if I now lose a bunch of other teams, my season's made. Okay, how you going to handle that? I don't think it'll be quite like Nick Saban, though. There's just nothing like Nick Saban. He's just unique in and of himself. That there'll always be something special about him. So what about the name of the stadium? That's just up in the air? Or
No. It's official. It's official. It is it's Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. That came down on Friday. Wow. Officially voted by the Board of Trustees, has been approved, and it has now been Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. You like it?
Yeah, I would like a lot more if Saban were, dead, and that'd be a huge honor there.
Now, hold on. Whoa. So he's got to, but...
Because, it's kind of like, well, he's still alive, why elevate him above? Well, not so much above, but, I guess so. I mean, why just honor a person when they're dead? Because it's great to honor them when they're alive.
True. Well, and I was for a bigger name, unless we're going to market it to the point where we say Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. You know what I mean? Like if that's going to be a part of the marketing campaign, but that's also a lot to get out. I mean, even Bryant-Denny Stadium's a lot to get out, right? Bryant-Denny Stadium.
You think that people are going to start calling it Saban Field and leave the Bryant-Denny out? Because, people are going to go the short route of the name. They're not going to go, Saban Field at Bryant-Denny. They're not going to say that whole name. So how long do you think it'll be before people just start calling it Saban Field and leave out the Bryant-Denny?
Well, and it's a good point. I just don't think it's enough, Robert. It's okay, and I'm sure they'll do other things, but it needs to be more. I mean, the guy, and for those who were not around here, that were because we have a lot of new fans who just jumped on board, right? When Alabama started winning, that's okay. But when you look at this university, a lot of people don't realize how in the dumps this place was. Nick Saban fixed that. He fixed it.
It wasn't only he and Bear Bryant pulled it up from a lower depth, as the depth
it was
as Alabama was low. Bear Bryant came in; it was also extremely low as well. I don't remember that, but I remember the stories. I've heard the stories, and I think and Nick Saban pretty much did the same thing. So, yeah, it's just it's been called Bryant-Denny for so long, it'd be weird not to call it that, and I'm not sure if people are going to go with Saban Field. We'll see how long that is.
Yeah, well, and like I said, if we're going to use it as marketing, then that's one thing. And maybe they are. Maybe they're going to take an initiative to market it Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Maybe that becomes a theme that they really push and try to advocate media to use, and maybe that picks up. I also think it helps you in recruiting too, because, if you look at people's big takeaways from SEC Media Days, the number one that I'm seeing more of, not unanimous, but pretty much a consensus, is how Nick Saban owned that ESPN coverage. That's a benefit. Yeah, that's a benefit for the University of Alabama.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Like you said, one thing you said before about DeBoer, not trying to become Saban 2.0, but become his own style, his own system. That's definitely the route you got to go with this. I'm not sure if Saban 2.0 will be as effective as DeBoer 1.0 in this new era of college football. So he's definitely got to forge his own path and do things his own way. All right, man.
Hey, appreciate you, Robert. Thank you, man. Robert in Mobile. And we will do a free-for-all Friday coming up this week, sponsored by Brian Harden Construction. SEC Parlay Picks. We'll be back there coming up when college football gets started. But look at our good friend right there. It is Brian Harden Construction. We're going to Martin Houston coming up here in just a couple of minutes. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Nick Cope.
USA basketball on the ropes against Germany. The final tune-up before the Olympics for the Americans, and they trail 72-71 to the Germans just inside of 8 minutes to play in London. You can watch the conclusion of this on Fox. And the NFL, Packers GM Brian Gutekunst said quarterback Jordan Love will not practice with the team or play in preseason games until the two sides can come to terms on a contract extension. Love is taking part in meetings and other off-field activities, and Gutekunst expressed optimism in getting a deal done soon. Bengals coach Zach Taylor said quarterback Joe Burrow has been fully cleared for contact as the team begins training camp this week. Vikings coach Kevin O'Connell said
for customers, and we thank you for trusting our team to get you the right part for the past 39 years.
Northport Auto Supply. Why go anywhere else?
MedCenterUrgentCare.com. We expect the unexpected. Locations in Tuscaloosa, Northport, North River, right there off Rice Mine Road, Fayette, Demopolis, Hoover. The great doctors, urgent care, family medicine, injuries, occupational health, sports physicals. We do expect the unexpected.
It's only $5. Let's get your favorite Good and Gather snacks. They're now at a new lower price.
Best team ever. When it comes to low prices, Target has your back to school.
I got spirit, I got faith. I might bend, but I won't break. I'll fight the elements. And I'ma go down swinging. If I go down, I'ma go down swinging. If I go down, I'ma go down swinging. If I go down, I'ma go down swinging. If I go down. This ain't a home.
And we featured Martin Houston last week when we were in Dallas. We'll get his big takeaways coming up in just a couple of minutes. 205-342-9904. We'll get back to those phone calls coming up. We'll go to Stephen in Raleigh, North Carolina. Jacob, I see you. We're coming your way. Jumbo, Marty, and many others. We are always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. The Big One Sales Event, 2.99 APR for 36. You can find that right there on Skyler Boulevard and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. The Highlander, 3.99 APR for 36. You can find the Tundra with probably one of the lowest interest rates that I've seen. They did this in June. They extended it throughout July, 1.99 for 36. It is Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. We are 40 days away from Alabama Crimson Tide football. We are 9 days away, one Bryce Young away from Alabama's first fall practice as we work our way towards that. It is sponsored by Alabama Credit Union, alabamacu.com. Checking, savings, mortgage, home equity, loan, financing a vehicle, alabamacu.com. Remind you, we're 40 days away from Alabama, Western Kentucky. Right now, we go to Martin Houston, 1992 national champion winning fullback at the University of Alabama. Martin, I hope all is well. Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
All is well, Ryan, and glad to be in with you, sir.
Hey, absolutely, man. It's good to be able to talk with you. From a perspective, the way that you analyze it, any big takeaways from Kalen DeBoer's talk out in Dallas, Texas?
Well, I talked a little bit about it this morning. Like it, love it, or hate it, I think the superstar of media days may have been Nick Saban. But considering that fact, there was not a lot of stories coming out per se. I was shocked that they didn't talk about, NIL or transfer pool, none of the normal things. And I think part of that, Ryan, is we've become accustomed to Nick Saban carrying the bucket, right? He's the one that kind of tells us this is what we need to talk about. And since he didn't, my biggest takeaway would circle back to Kalen DeBoer, despite the fact that Nick Saban, you may have been the biggest story or name or whatever. I felt like the guys did a great job of establishing that DeBoer is running this program and that he's fully in command of it and that they're bought in. So that was one of my biggest takeaways.
Yeah, you look at the galvanizing side, and we were talking about leadership of this team. You imagine how strong that bond is among those players, because the players that are here want to be here. But there is some leaders that formed out of that, 30 days where players were getting into the portal, the uncertainty of who's going to replace Nick Saban, the greatest football coach to ever walk the sidelines. That had to be a galvanizing moment for that locker room.
Yeah, and I think two things that magnified it is, like you said, these guys decided before, the three guys that was out there, I think they decided before DeBoer talked to them. I think they kind of made up their mind, hey, I'm playing for the Crimson Tide. Tyler Booker, kind of leading the charge with, when you come to Alabama, you want to play for a national title. And I did not want to leave here. His words, not mine. He didn't want to leave here, Ryan, without accomplishing that. The guys who left this past year after 3 years, Kool-Aid McKinstry, guys, they're the first class and the only class that Nick Saban recruited that didn't win a national title. And so Booker didn't want he didn't want to leave with that on his resume. And so I think that was part of it. But then if you go back and listen to Malachi Moore when he was addressing everybody as a whole, and he talked about it's a player-led, his approach is player-led, that the players take over. But then he goes out with, but he makes it plain when he wants to say something and he wants to drive the direction. So he's clearly driving the culture, but he's allowing buy-in from everybody else to build a culture. So would you rather have a team, Ryan? And once again, I know we always caveat it with Nick Saban. He had a way and everything funneled through him, and that worked. But now these guys, I think it's going to work the other way. Now the leadership is dispersed. So now you have so many people who are bought in and buying in on the leadership side of it. So I think the water level rises that way as well.
Well, and really the one thing I took away from SEC Media Days is when you sat down at lunch or breakfast or even some of our post Media Day gatherings, you talk to people from Austin, you talk to people from Athens, you talk to people from Baton Rouge. Everybody has trouble. Everybody has issues. Everybody has questions. There is none of this dominant football that we were playing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. Everybody has questions. Sit down and talk with the local media. You could make a case for a lot of these teams, and you could also make it against some of these teams as we look around the SEC.
Absolutely. And I think that Nick Saban, despite the fact that he didn't pick Alabama, I think he is in with everybody else thinking that the top 3 or 4 teams, of course, would be, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Ole Miss, and kind of toss it up and figure it out from there. But to me, he was very Nick Saban-ish in his answer. He picked those 2. He didn't really say anything about Georgia, but then he said Texas. He said the same thing about Texas and Alabama, right? To me, he said the same thing, just a different group. With Texas, Ryan, what did he say? He said they lost a lot on that defensive line, and they're going to have to get that fixed, but I'm picking them. He said, but I like our Alabama team and the fact that they are if they fix the secondary, they'll be right there. So it was the same comment, and it was smart on his part to not put any added pressure on Kalen DeBoer. I think had he picked Alabama, Ryan, that would have been the story all year.
Sure, it would have been.
Especially if Alabama was winning. I mean, all year. It would have been, well, you know, and he would have been the story versus what Kalen DeBoer is doing. So I think he was very guarded in that response.
Yeah, I think it was smart. It's a good point when you think about it. No, I mean, that is something to really think about. I mean, when you look at the way that he could be a reverse rat poison. He could do it that way, or he could be a guy that could throw out a little, rat poison, as he always likes to say. He could use it both ways, and I think it's a cool advantage point.
Yeah, well, the coolest thing for me the whole weekend was Tyler Booker is a superstar.
Oh, my Lord.
I mean, he's a media superstar, man. His response is, first of all, on the hypothetical, I don't deal in hypotheticals, and he taught me that. But when he came back about, not listening to guys in their mama's basement with their underwear on, sitting in their underwear, and then he said, so I'm not going to listen to a guy that plays golf all day. I mean, that was the greatest response I think I've ever heard to a question. So it was really good, but nothing really big to me. Did you have any takeaway from the media day?
Well, okay, you were there, all right. So okay, and it's so funny that sometimes the ones who criticize never want to like show up and actually do like media jobs, right? But there was some that were there that have been critical of Kalen DeBoer, and just like we were in Destin, they go, "Whoa, wow, this guy's impressive," because he does it a much different way, right? I don't ever think we're going to get a Kalen DeBoer rant. I don't think we're going to have, if we got a rant sponsored by Kalen DeBoer, like we did with Saban's rants, we wouldn't be advertising too much. Like that first down brought to you by so-and-so, that rant we're not going to get that. That's just not his personality. But I think the way that he presents himself, listen, being an Alabama coach when all the eyes are on you, that's not an easy job, man. That's tough. Just like being the quarterback at the University of Alabama. It's not easy. Jalen Milroe's brilliant too, man. In a media standpoint, I sat down with him for about 6 minutes. We talked about a variety of different things. Fun conversation. He is going to be a great ambassador because his personality. He's doing an interview with me right at the end. He goes, "Roll Tide." I mean, I love that side of it. Yeah.
He has the best roll tide ever. I mean, I can't roll tide. However,
I can't even do it the way he does it. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's classic. Hey, just a couple things I asked you, Ryan, that I thought was interesting. You know how we've had the process and different things. Each one of those guys kind of had a saying I thought was interesting. Sorry about that. I thought that Booker
is that a text message or an email? I mean, is that a?
Hey, I'm on my soundboard, so I have.
You're fine.
I have, I have some different sounds. I do have the one where where you want to drop a call and you just do the won't. But anyway, I thought Tyler Booker's, when he kept saying the standard is the standard. I mean, from a former player, Ron, hearing him when he talked about the legacy, hearing him when he's talked about, staying here and going through the grind, hearing him talk about when George asked him about being here, then hearing him say, y'all need to understand, y'all keep asking me these questions. I'm paraphrasing here and giving you the player standpoint. You guys keep asking about the difference in all of that. Y'all need to understand that the player and the talent is the same at Alabama, and this guy that we got here can flat out coach. So the standard is the standard. We haven't changed anything. We might carry ourselves a little different or whatever, but the work we're putting in the locker room, the work we're putting in on the field, the way we're going about it, we're working just as hard as we always did. There has been no drop off in the expectation that Kalen DeBoer has placed on us than what Nick Saban placed on us. That's what he was saying when he said the standard is the standard, meaning that Alabama has a standard that hasn't changed. And that got me excited, about it, about him. And, Milroe had one as well that was, talking about the grind doesn't stop. So it was just, those were the types of things that I took away from it.
All right, let's go into some of the debates of where this team is and some areas that, really need to show out. I mean, we're 9 days away from practice. They're going to transition from a afternoon practice team to a morning practice team. For me, I was talking about, I no longer have to set up a press conference because some of that was the hardest thing on Wednesday because you never knew when he was going to be there. I mean, he could be there at 5:35. He could be there at 6:15. I don't have to worry about that now. I'll let that'll be Wyatt Fulton's new responsibility because that press conference will be right there. So, Wyatt, I don't mean to dread. Kalen DeBoer may be more on time. Coach Saban, never on time. And then he'd come in and try to lesson us about being on time. And it's like, Coach, you're never on the same time. And we'd always say,
you think about his life, Ryan. Everything was on time. Why was that not?
Sometimes it was 5:45. Sometimes it was 5:50. So listen. And when you get to 6:15 and you're trying to fill it because you don't want to open up any new topics, right? Because here comes Nick Saban at 6:15. I could tell some battle stories. I mean, I'd sing Jingle Bells. I'd do just anything to get me through because that was a challenge. But hopefully, Kalen DeBoer is a little bit different as they transition from an afternoon team to a morning team. But when you look at the conversation, let's go through this because Nick Saban identified the big problem, secondary. I'm not in the belief that it's going to be as bad as some of these people think. I think Keon Sapp is going to be super, super, super. I think Malachi Moore is going to be fine. Jackson from USC, the transfer. I love my analyst out there that intern with us, you and I, Kendall. He said he watched him play. He said, and he played defensive back at Wyoming. He said the guy can play. He said he just needs to be a little bit more physical in the SEC, things that maybe he kind of got away with. And then you got to love the battle at corner. Wake Forest transfer, got a couple of freshmen in there as well. May the best guy win.
Yeah, Ryan, think about it. I was talking to Kennington Smith, the third, and listen to this stat. The guys, and then I'll go specifically to the DBs. The 15 guys that DeBoer brought in has more experience playing college football than the 39 that left.
Ooh, okay. That's a good start.
Okay. So right? So yeah, we have 5 guys, new guys, but let's look at it. Look at it. Sapp played in a national championship game. Jackson played, well. Malachi played fifth. Is this Malachi fourth or fifth year?
No, he's a grad. So he's a grad student.
Fifth year.
And if it hadn't been for the COVID year, he wouldn't have got this year.
Right. So
he played as a freshman. Was he not a freshman All-American?
Yes, he was. Everybody forgets that he was better than Branch and got hurt his freshman year.
And that injury, because I don't think anybody's ever said what the injury was, but it's one of those that it's just hard to play that position. Yeah, it's hard to play that position. Yeah.
It's wild to get
it takes a while to recover from that one.
And so now you have those 3 guys, Ryan. When has Alabama had that much returning experience?
That's a pretty good. Well, and this is going to be the new college football too,
right? But we're looking at it. We're looking at it because they weren't here, but we're not looking at the fact that just those 3. Those 3.
Well, Deshaun Jones, the Wake Forest transfer.
Now you have enough. Okay. Then you have a kid from, what was it, Charlotte?
And then yes. And you also had King Mack from Penn State.
So now you have 6 guys with more experience than any defensive backfield Alabama's ever had. What always happens at Alabama? There's always one freshman. Every 3 years, Nick Saban would have a freshman that would come in and would somehow beat out all of the older guys. Well, they're talking. I don't know which one it is, but if I listen to Kalen DeBoer's conversation, he said the following, and I'm paraphrasing. He said, we have to stay on these guys about the day-to-day, doing it day-to-day, especially the young guys. And I'm not talking about from a depth standpoint. We're going to see some of them sooner rather than later. Tells me that there's at least one freshman that's not competing for backup time. He said not about depth, but about playing time. So you take those 6 plus that. To me, I think we're addressing something and we're concerned about something that was a problem going into spring. And we're not acknowledging what the board did to fix that.
I agree.
And then on top of that, Ryan, what makes DBs go from average to good, good to great, and great to All-Americans?
Going against this type of offense.
That's number one. But number two is the defensive front. What's the best unit on our team? Deepest team on our unit?
It's probably the defensive line. I thought we'd lose some guys in the portal in that position. We didn't.
And we didn't. And so when you add that together, if DBs is I like it. I like our DB. I like the chances of our defensive backs being really good based on just what they're not coming here as true freshmen alone, but there's a couple of freshmen that are going to be, I don't know if they're going to be Caleb Down, but they may be close.
Yeah, and in receivers, you don't worry about that. I think running backs is an upgrade compared to what it was last year. Linebackers, I'm okay with Jahad Campbell, Deontay Lawson.
I think Quindarius Robinson is going to be a fifth-year guy. Remember that age thing, Ryan. It matters, man. This is something about 21, 22, 23 years old, playing a lot of football. It just kicks in.
Yeah, and also remember now, I know from last year, Jaheim Otis had not one, he had 2, and it's sometimes 3 injuries that he was dealing with.
Yeah.
And one of them was upper extremity, and really that's so key with the defensive lineman. I mean, he had an elbow that was just kept aggravating him. And then he had a knee and an ankle. I mean, that's a lot for a young man that weighs, what he weighs. But I think Jaheim and LT Overton are really going to take a step. I look at this defensive front and I go, depth. Look at the guys that they'll be able to rotate. When Alabama's been great at the defensive front position, they've been able to rotate 8, 9 guys. I think they're going to be very, very close to that. So
I agree 100%. I believe that LT is going to be a game changer. Ryan, I think Jaheim Otis, I told you, and I think he has a chance where he's not having to play 2 and 3 gaps or take on 2 and 3 guys.
Good point.
I just think that we're going to see all of that weight. He was already athletic at 360 pounds or whatever he was. We didn't get to see what that weight loss, what type of athlete it makes him. Think of, and I'm not saying he's this good. What was the guy named for the Rams that just retired from Pittsburgh? That was, you couldn't block him because he was so much quicker than everybody. He's a lot like, Quinnen Williams was here. Yeah, sort of like Quinnen Williams was here. Quinnen Williams and Sam Darnold, to me, they're kind of the same player, right? I think Jaheim Otis in this type of defense can be that type of player because he's not just athletic. He's also
Aaron Donald. I said Sam. Donald. I don't know where I got Sam. Okay.
Sam, he's a quarterback for the Jets.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the Jets.
Who are they again? Who are the Jets? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I think he's with somebody else now.
Yeah.
I don't even know where he's at now. But anyway, I think that's going to be. And Ron, what if Tim? What if the switch it flips for Tim?
We've been waiting on it.
I'm believing it. He's not said anything. He's not saying anything, which to me says he's a 5th-year guy that realized if I don't do it this year, this is it. So I think he's been working, and I think you're going to see that result on the field.
Martin, they're telling us that I need to get over to Southern Ale House. I did not do lunch over there today. What a tease for this bread pudding. What a tease for this bread pudding. I got to go back here and look real quick. Lemon, blueberry, poppy seed bread pudding. And then also next week, it's just true. I don't know. It's like a friend that's trying to get you knowing it's a weakness. Next week, it's going to be strawberry honey bun bread pudding. So,
Yeah, I saw the picture today, and I'm like, I'm not leaving the house.
Good call. Good call.
I mean, if I don't leave the house today, I'll be okay. But if I go out, I'll probably have to stop by.
Yeah,
I
mean, they're teasing me. It's like, guys. I mean, I'm already getting accused of eating all this food. People think I eat all the food that I put up on Facebook. I mean, I may order it, but I never leave a restaurant without a go box. It's just my truth.
You know what's funny is the bread pudding. You know, if you go back about 2 months whenever he started this whole thing, it was bad. I was like going by there every day, just to get bread pudding.
Were
and I
you
said,
really?
Dude, I stopped there. I guarantee you, there was 3 to 4 times a week where I didn't get anything else. I was just going to get the bread pudding on the way home, calling ahead. And now that I'm trying to, drop a little weight again, the bread pudding serving, most of the time you get desserts, man, and it's just like you feel like you wasted your money. It lasts at least 2 days, sometimes 3. That's how feeling thick. I mean, I don't know what all he put in it, but man, they all have been good. So he's definitely had a home run stretch here.
You just gave me a big idea. I never do to takeout orders at Southern Ale House.
Mm-hmm.
This may be an option. This because it does look tempting, but I'm thinking about tomorrow with the pepper jelly burger. They're bringing that one back. I mean, man, it is. Oh yeah. So that's pepper jelly burger, Albuquerque burger, Jack Daniel's burger, and always some great specials there at Southern Ale House. So we'll make it over there at some point. Now I'm back from Dallas, and we're getting ready for a little college football. 9 days away. One Bryce Young, one Freddie Kitchens away.
Yeah,
Alabama Crimson Tide football practice number 1.
Let me ask you one quick question, Ryan. Okay. Did you feel like? Do you think they go back on the Dallas loop because
they will?
It just is it. I mean, because I talked to Ken.
And I got a little. Let me give you a little secret, okay? I landed in Dallas, and we were all trying to get to Uber. I just so happened to ride with one of the associate commissioners of the SEC. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I'm cheap. And Martin, you know that. I looked at him and said, hey, you want to split this Uber? Because we're going to the same place. And it's like, I said, hey, you want to split this Uber from the airport down? And so he rode with me, and we split it. And, he told me that it's probably going to be Dallas, Nashville, Atlanta rotated. And he said Hoover's done. Hoover, unless you guys find another space. It's outgrown Hoover. It's too big.
Here's I had one of my listeners that listens to the show in the morning from Dallas that said, I was so wanting to go, but they didn't advertise that we could come as fans. The fans didn't know they could come. It's so that
we
that
didn't
was
see a lot of Texas fans out there. I mean, this was
this was an Alabama fan, but she was this was a lady, and she was like, I didn't know I could come. And so that to me shows me that Dallas is going to have to up their game because, Nashville knew what to do. And with them being
College
so
Football
far
Hall
away.
of Fame was great. There was no fans. It was dead as a doornail down in the lobby and nothing.
Yeah.
And maybe
so that would be, they'll have to up their game.
Because of parking, but you could say College Football Hall of Fame would be an obstacle too. And Nashville was a ton of fans, but there was nothing. Could be because Texas maybe a little nervous out there in Austin. Could be. Hey, Martin Houston, I appreciate you, man. We'll invite people to listen to 6 a.m. tomorrow morning starting here on Tide 100.9. Also connect with Martin on the Facebook account, Twitter side of things. You could just do a simple search, Martin Houston, and the Martin Houston Show with him at Xavier every morning starting at 6 a.m. Martin, appreciate you, man. Have a great rest of your day.
Appreciate you, Ryan. Roll Tide.
We'll break here. We're coming back. Stephen and Raleigh, North Carolina next. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Now, this hour hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
Alabama political leaders are reacting to President Biden dropping out of the presidential race. West Alabama Democrat Congresswoman Terry Sewell posted that Biden will go down in history as one of the most consequential and transformational leaders America has ever seen. Alabama's unemployment rate remained a record 2.2% in the month of June, but the percentage of those unemployed remains at 57.7%. Tuscaloosa's unemployment rate at 2.9%. And rain every day this week is expected to help break the drought across West Alabama.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters. Tide 100.9 Traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, hello and happy Monday afternoon to you. Off to a busy start on the Tuscaloosa freeways. We got Lurleen Wallace in trouble on the northbound lanes between Rice Mine and 17th Street. You do have an accident. It's going to knock out the right lane, very specifically at 12th Street, that is. And
schedule and conduct virtual interviews, all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky cloudy at times through tonight. The chance of a few passing showers or thunderstorms. The high today 86, the low tonight 71. Tomorrow mostly cloudy with scattered to numerous showers and storms around. The high 85. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
The Game with Ryan Fowler. Powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. On your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Life so hard. Everybody's got their share of battle scars. As for me, I'd like to thank my lucky stars that I'm alive and well.
Hey, remind you about Nuke's Eatery if you're looking for a great sandwich, salad, California-style pizza, 205 University Boulevard, 205-758-2455. You can find Joel Bromfield cooking up some great things there on University Boulevard, close enough that you can smell the championships. Jacob, we're coming to you in 2 minutes. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230, WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Big Mike's downtown Moundville, only about 15 minutes from where I'm located. Also in Gunnersville, Alabama, Thomasville, Andalusia, Auburn, Alabama, Orange Beach. You'll find one of the best steaks in the state of Alabama, voted by the Alabama Cattlemen's Association and many other great publications recognizing the great ribeye, the seafood entrees. You'll find those, the great service.
Trades in the construction field, go to skilltradesofwestalabama.com to find more information about the 10-week Jumpstart program and take your first step towards a rewarding career path.
Blue Spring Living Water is located in Bluntsville, Alabama, Blount County, about an hour north of Birmingham. Blue Spring Living Water is harvested and bottled from a centuries-old natural spring on a private family farm. Blue Spring is an all-natural water source that flows just under 1 million gallons a day. They have partnered with Waterway of Alabama, and they've been in the water delivery business for over 30 years. To have Blue Spring Living Water delivered right to your home, right to your front door every month. New customers get their 5 jugs for $50, and the empties are exchanged every month for new ones. I know we have it at the Fowler household. We drink more water because of BlueSpringLivingWater.com. You can sign up at 205-602-3426. Talk to someone directly. Blue Spring Living Water can also be found. Mark's.
You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text support to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Catch every game and every moment right here. This is your home of Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
It's a beautiful world, sometimes I don't see so clear. Some days you're just breathing, just trying to break even. Sometimes your heart's pounding out of your chest.
Urgent Care Family Medicine, no appointment necessary. The super doctors who live and work in our community, MedCenterUrgentCare.com, MedCenterUrgentCare.com. Online check-in available right there, significantly reducing the wait time. Northport, North River, right off Rice Mine Road, Fayette, Hoover, Demopolis, and the original location here in the Lowe's Shopping Center. You'll find Med Center, Urgent Care, Family Medicine. We're going to get you back to 100%. Let's go to Jacob. Jacob, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Hey, Ryan, how you been?
Oh, my buddy up in Indiana. How are you, Jacob?
Pretty good, man.
Good, good. You ready for some Alabama Crimson Tide football?
Oh, I can't wait. I can tell my dad every single hour how excited I am.
We're 40 days away, 40 days away.
Can't believe it. I remember calling and you saying it was two something.
Yes, we did. We started about 2:45, and we're down to 40 days, Jacob. 40 days. And we're 9 days away from practice, which will start that trickle of information.
Actually, my first practice is tomorrow evening. My first game is in 24 days.
Okay. And you're still a quarterback?
Yep.
Okay. Nobody's going to beat you out, right?
Hopefully not. I got two. I got one from last year. He's been practicing. I got one coming from fourth grade up to fifth.
And you're what grade?
Sixth.
Oh, come on. That fourth grader is not going to beat Jacob. No.
Well, actually, he's got an arm on him.
Oh, he does?
Okay. Yeah, he's got an arm.
Okay. Well, you know what? You just got to outwork him, Jacob. You got to take Nick Saban and just outwork him, man. You got to outwork him. You got to put in the work.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited.
Well, we're pulling. Don't tell him, but we're pulling for you, even though we're supposed to be unbiased members of the media.
Oh, okay.
Don't tell him, though, but we're pulling for you, Jacob. You got to keep us posted, though, man. So what's your team mascot's name?
We're the Morristown Yellow Jackets.
Oh, the Yellow Jackets. Okay. You guys got speed? You guys got speed, size? What?
We had a guy who was at least, I could tell you, at least 150 pounds, 160 on my team last year.
Okay.
But he's
and is this flag football?
No, it is 8-man.
Okay, so it is tackle football. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, good deal. Good deal. So sounds like that's a pretty good challenge. So you start practice tomorrow, and he's the quarterback, and we're ready for that. I know you will be as well.
Oh yeah, I'm so ready. Well, did you watch Dunlap last night?
Did I watch what?
Did you watch Nick Dunlap last night?
I did not. I was. I went to the Deer Expo up in Birmingham, and I got back pretty late. Had to stop by the grocery store. Probably wasn't back home till probably about 8:00 last night. Flipped over the news because there was a lot of news going on. Watched that for about an hour, and then I went to bed.
Yeah, with Trump and stuff, all that going on.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to catch up on the day. Wanted to see. We were up there, so we didn't get a lot of commentary. So wanted to hear exactly what all that was about, and yeah. So, but are you a hunter? Do you do any hunting?
I've been deer hunting once for real. I went not really playing around. Me and my dad just went, and my whole family just went, just to sit in an old stand just to see if we saw anything. But,
yeah. Well, Jacob, Indiana's loaded with big deer. Big deer. Plenty to eat up there.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
There's plenty to eat. You got a lot of corn. You got a lot of fields. A lot of croplands. So a lot of protein up there.
What's annoying? All our chickens are dead from a skunk.
Oh. So do they kill all of them?
Yeah, every single hen. Our rooster came back all out of the corn, all bloody and feathers sticking out of him.
From a skunk, okay.
That's what we think it was, either a skunk or a fox.
Okay. You have them in like a coop, or did you got them?
They have a coop, but we've started letting them roam free around our house.
Oh, and that's how I got them. Okay.
Well, actually, it actually probably happened in the coop because we opened it up whenever we got home, and a ton of feathers blew out everywhere.
Okay. So
and
now
it got the eggs too, whatever it was.
Yeah, now you got to go buy some eggs. Okay.
No, my mom actually found some chickens, some hens online.
Okay.
So actually, I think she said it might not be the same person, but there's some ones you found had 6 for free, 6 laying hens.
Well, you want me to give you some tricks about trying to keep pests out of your chicken coop? Because I'm an old country boy from North Alabama. Take you an egg. Okay, take you an egg.
Yeah.
Take a little pencil and crack the eggshell. Okay, small little hole. Get you some Tabasco sauce. No, I'm being serious. And put some hot sauce, because Tabasco sauce is real. It's hot. And put it in. Put it in the egg. And that whatever's coming back to eat your eggs, whether it be a possum or a raccoon or a fox or whatever, they come and eat those eggs. It'll teach them a lesson, man. It'll teach them a lesson. Seriously, and take you some clear tape and put over the hole where the sauce doesn't drip out, because they're going to swallow that egg and they're going to crush it. And man, it's going to be crazy. So there's your little farm boy trick. It only comes from somebody raised up in the country. So.
Well, I was raised in the country. I just never heard that.
Yeah, take your little pencil, knock a little small hole in it, or you can get a little drill bit, and then pour that Tabasco sauce down in there with a funnel. Tape it up. Put your little piece of clear tape on there. Put it back there. Put it back there where they can get it. There you go.
Well,
I'll be here all day with those free tips, man.
Okie dokie. Well, I have anything else if that ain't working. I guess I'll
Well, listen, man. I live out in the country myself, and I've got a handful of hens too. So, matter of fact, the other day I had to kill a possum that had gotten my chicken coop, and so.
Well, I'm so excited for what we're gonna see Jalen Milroe do.
Me
See
too.
if he can
Me too.
Improve what he's improved over the years. See what he's improved with.
Okay.
Because, he did amazing last year. Like, you could see over the season as they were improving. Like, you could see some of that. Like, from that starting game, and then I didn't think I'd see them lose to Texas and then go whoop Georgia's butt.
I think, listen, when you look at Jalen Milroe, he's exactly what would give Alabama's defense in the past trouble. And I think he's going to give a lot of defensive teams out here. There are going to be a lot of defensive coordinators. I have a lot of sleepless nights trying to stop Jalen Milroe. I agree with you. I'm excited to see this young man take a big step in the right direction.
Worked for us out there trying to coordinate the defense, falling asleep halfway.
Yeah, no, I like it. Are you a mobile quarterback? You said you were a quarterback. Are you a mobile quarterback?
No, what is mobile quarterback?
Just moving. You like to run the football?
Well, I'll what do you mean? Like, having to...
Yeah, like if somebody comes running after you. Yeah, can you get away from them?
Yeah, most of the time, unless, they're coming from behind.
Okay.
Of course, but,
yeah, that's just more, running.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
No, I was just saying running from the guys. You just, you got these pocket passers that's kind of a standing statue out there. But mobile quarterbacks are just, kind of like a Lamar Jackson type. Get away from the guy. Patrick Mahomes. They can extend the play a little bit.
Well, I almost got a concussion last year because someone came behind me, picked me up, and slammed me. The first thing that hit the ground was my head. I thought I was going to.
Well, don't do that. Don't do that, especially at your age. Concussions are tough for anybody, but at your age, it even becomes a bigger problem.
I had one whenever I was 6 or 7. There was some teenagers swinging on a swing, and I didn't see them, and I was out there catching lightning bugs, little on me, fireflies. Okay. And then came up from the side. They kicked me right in the head.
Okay.
All I remember is feeling a little bit of pain and hitting the ground, and I don't remember anything else.
Well, I'm glad you gave us a big update, Jacob. Thanks again, and keep us posted. I know you may not be able to call when practice starts, but are you excited about Kalen DeBoer? You like the new coach?
Yeah, I'm really excited about what we're going to see if we can see him be able to have a good impact on the players for the first year. See if he can have a good impact on them. See if he can get how could I say this? Here's another way I could say it. Get the fluid rushing with him or whatever, something like that.
Okay.
Get it all up and running.
I like what you think.
Food.
Cool.
But I think even if as soon as the season starts, I don't think we're going to be. We could, but I don't think we're going to be perfectly in there with a new coach first season. I mean, I don't think we're going to be perfectly right there, but I think as the years go on, I mean, this is ahead a lot, but I think we're going to see a lot of improvement, of course, and see a lot better than the first year could be. But hey, as you said earlier, we've still got some people thinking we could do pretty good.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You know what we say down here, doubt today, look dumb tomorrow. So a lot of doubters out there doubting the Alabama Crimson Tide. And we like that, though. It kind of fuels our lank and let all the naysayers know kind of personality. But, hey, Jacob, I got to get to this break, man. I appreciate you. Thank you again for – it's been a long time since you checked in, but make sure to keep us up to date, man.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll try to call in the weekend towards well, no, you won't be on the weekend. I'll have a chance. Mondays like today, maybe.
Okay. Well, sounds good. Thank you, Jacob. Best of luck to you, man. Go get them, okay? We're pulling for you.
Okay, thank you. Roll Tide, Ryan.
Roll Tide. Jacob up in Indiana. Young man's been calling us for several years. We've kept up with him and hadn't heard from him a little bit. So, Jacob, we appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Let's go to Jumbo coming up 2 minutes away. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Lurleen Wallace and McFarland Boulevard are synonymous with delays. And so we're going to start with this accident on Lurleen Wallace at Stillman Boulevard. Now you do have an accident blocking the left lane. It's going to create, or it definitely is creating havoc for motorists. And you're also having to maneuver around this accident on McFarland Boulevard on the eastbound lanes at Campus Drive, as this is knocking out the left lane. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
Pat's Florist and Gourmet Baskets in downtown Tuscaloosa, 1010 Queen City Avenue for over 60 years. They've been serving our community. They specialize in a large inventory of fresh flowers, weddings, gourmet fruit baskets. If you're trying to lift someone's spirits, it is Pat's Florist Gourmet Baskets by calling 205-345-5093. Delivery options are available, but it's more than just flowers at Pat's Florist and Gourmet Baskets, 1010 Queen City Avenue.
Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence 9 test under high-load conditions versus API SP test limits.
Nuke's Eatery, they're on the fringe of the campus of the University of Alabama, close enough that you can smell the championships. The Nuke's Q sandwich, still the number one sandwich across the franchise. The French dip sandwich, I think, is going to challenge for that number one spot. The double club, the single club, you can pair those up with a great sandwich, salad, California-style pizzas, all available for catering from a group of 5 to 500, a small office party to a large corporate event. Joel Bromfield, they've done a great job for my family. They'll do a great job for you. 205 University Boulevard, 205-758-2455. Nuke's Eatery, close enough that you can smell the championships. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. Call Paul at 205-331-6823. Custom curbing for your home or business. Do away with those plastic individual stone borders. Go for that more permanent, decorative concrete border. No more grass growing between those individual stones. Cleaner to edge to maintain. They're willing to travel, not just here in Tuscaloosa, but also in our neighboring states as well over in Mississippi. Many colors and choices. They'll customize for that individual taste and house. Give them a call at 205-331-6823. You could also go to their Facebook account. Find their page. You can see exactly what the videos. They came out, did a free quote. Paul gave me an evaluation. Give them a call, 205-331-6823. Free quotes and evaluation. It is Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. Call Paul at 205-331-6823.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky cloudy at times through tonight. The chance of a few passing showers or thunderstorms. The high today 86, the low tonight 71. Tomorrow mostly cloudy with scattered to numerous showers and storms around. The high 85. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
You're inside the game on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Back into the game. Let's go to Jumbo. Jumbo, how are you, my friend? Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
Hey, Ryan, what's going on?
I'm good, man. I hope you had a great weekend.
Oh, yeah, we had a good time. Friday, we were at Jack's, and then Saturday night, we went to Buffalo Wild Wings and had a good time. So,
Okay. So you guys, as far as getting together with Mitchell's birthday, and Mitchell looks like he's dropped some pounds on the photos on Facebook. Looks like he's losing a little bit too.
Yeah, I guess everybody is except me. But let me tell you what I put myself into Friday.
What'd you do?
Here we are sitting at Jack's. We're sitting at Jack's. We're getting ready to leave. And lo and behold, who walks through the door?
Who is
it? The Texas Longhorn cheerleaders. And what do I start chanting? Go back to the Big 12. Go back to the Big 12.
It's good, Jumbo. I'm glad. What did they say? How did they respond?
Oh, they laughed. And I said, well, that being said, welcome to Tuscaloosa. I hope you guys have a good time. So.
And I kept getting a lot of messages last week about Oklahoma was also in town. And I don't know anything. I don't know why they were in town. I don't know anything about it. But
there was a cheerleading camp at the university. Yeah, they were there. South Alabama was there. Gulf Coast Mississippi College, they were there. There was a bunch of other ones there. But yeah, OU was there. They left out of town on their bus when I was getting off Saturday afternoon, and. But they were here. But the Texas cheerleaders, yeah, I kind of bummed them a little bit. Then I was like, "Welcome to the real city of champions." Before I left, but I said what I said, but I was nice to them afterwards and said,
"Well, I mean, that's part of it. I mean, if they can't tank that or little horns down, then they're gonna have to put their big boy pants on because it's coming. We're not gonna bow to you guys. You need to bow to us."
Well, Josh said he gave them the horns down thing there when they come in, but. I mean, it was cool. Then Saturday, we went there and we had a good time. And Dale come in and my wife came in. She was there too, and she's got a new name now. So Mitchell gave her Miss Jumbo.
Miss Jumbo. Now, does she like that name?
Yeah, she was okay with it. Then I was like, yeah. Then later, about 10, 15 minutes later, I was like, yeah, I said, I'm Jumbo and she's Slimbo because she's a little bitty thing. She only weighs about 100 pounds.
Yeah.
So
Slimbo.
But it was a lot of fun. We had a good time. So.
Super cool. It's always good to catch up with some good friends. Josh sent me an invitation and I was not able to make it. My wife and I had to, because I knew I was going to the Deer Expo on Sunday, and I knew it was also supposed to rain all day yesterday too, and I don't think it ended up doing that. It rained some, but it was not a complete washout. But we went out, got a little bit of a late lunch, and then we ended up going to the Deer Expo yesterday. I mowed grass all Saturday evening. I did a lot of weed eating and mowing grass and trying to get all the work done and getting ready for football here 9 days away, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union.
9 days away. Yeah, let me say something. Whenever we get together for these little things, it's great because I've said on here that we're all like a little big family, and we are, but anybody's invited. I mean, if we go to meet out of town and you guys want to come on, man. The more the merrier. So, shoot, show up. I mean, like I said, the more we get there, we'll have a little bit more fun, talk about football and fellowship a little bit. I mean, sheesh. So everybody's invited. I mean, we need to do another Big Mike's too. So,
and we can do that before. I know I've talked to a particular restaurant and a business about doing a little kickoff, maybe on that Friday before Western Kentucky. A little something we're kind of throwing out there a little bit.
Oh, I'll be coming back from Pigeon Forge then. So, but hey, what do you think about this? I think that's a pretty good ring. Saban Field at Bryant Denny.
I like it, but I just think what's next? How else? What else are we going to do to honor him?
Well, like I said last week, I mean, they're going to name the street after him.
Okay.
They'll name the street after him. I mean, I don't know if the man, I don't know what the man eats, but if he could come up with a good burger somewhere, I'm sure somebody would have his burger. And
well, but the thing is, Saban is. You can tell by the way he looks. He probably doesn't eat like you and I, Jumbo.
No, he sure don't. He's a little skinny thing.
I mean,
you skinny now, so I mean, you've lost your appetite.
But I'm not. Yeah, I'm not Saban skinny. I mean, I got me I'm okay. But yeah, from a Nick Saban, I don't know. Like, I don't know what Nick Saban would probably. He's probably over eating carrots and celery and stuff like that. So yeah.
He's still just as skinny for somebody to be retired, so I guess he's doing it right. I guess I'm doing it wrong, but that's all right. It's paid for.
Hey, well, I never want to somebody look at me and say, boy, that boy right there looks like he's hungry. He looks like he's hungry. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Well, hey, man, we always go out to eat. We always eat, I mean, you walk out of there hungry, it's your own fault.
Absolutely. Well, Jumbo, what else on your mind, man?
Not a whole lot. I mean, just counting this down. I'm ready to get it started. We actually talked about getting a little tailgate going Saturday for the ball game and trying to get in, but I don't know. It may be a tough ticket to get because that's going to be Coach's first game. And then, of course, the next week is going to be huge with them dedicating the field. So that's going to be tough. But, man, I'm ready to get this started. I'm still right where I was.
I don't think it's going to be a tough ticket.
Oh, you don't think so?
I think you should be able to find tickets that first game.
Well,
and then you can be able to say that you were there. You were there when the DeBoer era got started. I think you should be there.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna try to do. I'm gonna try to get one if I can. If I can't, then that's okay. But still, we were talking about. I had brought it up about getting out there and tailgating and cooking some dogs and stuff, and trying to get in for the first game. But we'll see what happens. We still got 4 weeks away, 5 weeks, somewhere around there.
Gotcha. Hey, Jumbo, thank you, man. Roll Tide to you.
Yeah, roll Tide, y'all.
Right back to you. We'll come back. Stephen in Raleigh, North Carolina. AC. Oh, do I have to? We'll continue with more of the game. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Nick Cope.
USA basketball on the ropes against Germany. The final tune-up before the Olympics for the Americans, and they trail 72-71 to the Germans just inside of 8 minutes to play in London. You can watch the conclusion of this on Fox. And the NFL, Packers GM Brian Gutekunst said quarterback Jordan Love will not practice with the team or play in preseason games until the two sides can come to terms on a contract extension. Love is taking part in meetings and other off-field activities, and Gutekunst expressed optimism in getting a deal done soon. Bengals coach Zach Taylor said quarterback Joe Burrow has been fully cleared for contact as the team begins training camp this week. Vikings coach Kevin O'Connell.
Or find us on Facebook, Andrew Conifer Agency. Once again, you can reach us at 205-722-9201. Allstate, are you in good hands?
Alabama Credit Union with the official countdown to Alabama Crimson Tide football right here on the game, alabamacu.com. The mobile app saves a lot of time. The mobile deposits, checking, savings, mortgage, home equity loan, financing a vehicle, the great competitive rates. Alabama Credit.
Within 30 miles. And if they don't have what you need, they'll get it. Cypress Supply, 2036 62nd Avenue, Tuscaloosa. Cypress-supply.com.
Rolling down a backwoods Tennessee byway. One arm on the wheel, holding my lover with the other. A sweet, soft southern thrill. Worked hard all week, got a little jingle on a Tennessee Saturday night. Couldn't feel better, I'm together with my Dixieland tonight. Spend my dollar, park in a holler 'neath the mountain moonlight.
Hey, we're taking your phone calls at 205-342-9904. 40 days away from Alabama Crimson Tide football, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union. We are always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, including the 2024 Toyota Corolla 2.99 APR. You can see all of the inventory online at Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. Let's go to Stephen in Raleigh, North Carolina. Stephen, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
All is well, Ryan. How are you guys doing there?
Good. A lot of excitement, man. We're starting to build up. Single digits away from practice. 9 days away.
I know. I remember when it was like 100, 200-something days out when you were counting down back in January or February. I don't know. It was something crazy. But
that was depressing. Yeah, 240. We're down to 240. We're like, oh, come on. But especially because, we were all licking our wounds, and then Coach Saban decided to drop that retirement in, and we had to, navigate that water. But, and I was asking another radio show today, said you were big, obviously, a Lane Kiffin guy. Looking back, do you regret, or are you happier now with DeBoer? Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad Greg Byrne didn't listen to me.
Greg Burton had a plan, and I do agree with you. I heard you jump on the Gary Harris show earlier this morning, and I do agree. I think they started laying the groundwork. There was no deal in place, obviously, but when Greg Byrne let it slip that he thanked Nick Saban that he gave us enough time to kind of communication,
I told him off the air, I said, did you realize you said that? And he goes, what'd I say? I said, you said, I thank Nick Saban for his time and the communication throughout the process. And I'm going, what was there really to communicate? But, I've got my conspiracy.
Yeah. I kind of lean towards you. I don't believe by any means that a deal was in place.
No.
But I believe they had targeted. Yes, as the eventual replacement, I believe they started looking at him very seriously a year ago when he changed agents.
He did.
When he didn't accept his pretty significant offers at Washington. You just kind of felt like that behind the scenes, whether through his agent or whatever. There were some things, and you look at the SEC championship game when Nick Saban's hugging his whole family like he's going away forever. There was just some things out there. But, you were asking people about their big takeaway from the SEC media days. Here's my future takeaway, Ryan.
Okay.
You're in Tuscaloosa, and you have those new people that move into the neighborhood, and they're from California. And they're nice. You go over to their house for dinner. But then school starts, and they start taking over the PTA meetings, and election season comes around, and you realize their agenda is not what yours is. And that's what we'll see in the future. I believe you'll realize that UC Austin doesn't have the same agenda as the SEC. Yeah, SEC is, and Greg and our commissioner is all about making the SEC brand better. And Texas, everywhere they've been, is all about making Texas better. So that'll be my future takeaway from this UC Austin thing is I'm calling them University of California Austin. There's UC Austin. Their agenda will not be what the rest of the SEC is. It's all about Texas for them.
It is all about Texas. And I did a radio hit this morning with out in College Station, and I said, I want to apologize to you guys having to live with that bunch all the time. That's crazy. I mean, maybe I feel bad for Texas A&M, and that's hard to do.
Texas A&M's already run from them once. Do you ever see them like going to the Big Ten or anything like that? I'm not saying they will, but they already tried. They came to the SEC to have a better brand to take on that SEC brand, because it was something that Texas didn't have. It was something they had over Texas, and now Texas has followed them. I don't know. It's something to think about. But when you see the money that the SEC makes over the Big Ten, that's hard to leave too. But I'm getting excited, Ryan. Though, getting really excited.
Yeah, I think there's going to Dallas with SEC Media Days, you back up a little bit. You think, man, you get out there and you start talking to media members, and you're like, okay, Ole Miss. Like I spent some time talking to some of their guys. It's okay. All this Ole Miss hype, are you believing? You buying into it? You thinking about it? They do have 10 starters on offense, 10 returning on the defensive side of the football, but Ole Miss is still Ole Miss. And until they get over that Ole Miss hump, are they a team?
Ryan, they had a 2-team schedule last year, and it was Alabama and Georgia, and they lost both of those pretty significantly. I look at Missouri and I look at Ole Miss, and the only reason we're talking about them being for the playoffs is because of their schedule.
Missouri's got a schedule. I mean, really, it's Alabama, right? I mean, you look at Missouri 11-2 last year. I mean, it's a cupcake. I mean, they played Murray State, Buffalo, Boston College, Vanderbilt. I mean, stop me when you hear a loss. At Texas A&M, okay, there's a challenge. At Massachusetts, Auburn for homecoming. They come to Tuscaloosa to play the University of Alabama. Then they get a bye week. They play Oklahoma at home, at South Carolina, at Mississippi State, and at Arkansas. Well, if they can't get double-digit wins, Eli Drinkowitz, you're not the coach we thought you were.
When you think about when you just named it off like that, I see Alabama, maybe Texas A&M. I think you said they played them on the road. Maybe
they do. And that's coming off of a bye week, though. It's coming, so they get 2 weeks to prepare for Texas A&M.
Maybe I could see 9-3 or 10-2. 9-3, I think, is their floor.
And they have 9 starters coming back on the offensive side of the football, 5 on the defensive side.
Yeah. I just don't think a schedule makes you playoff. The only reason we would be talking about the playoffs for Ole Miss and Missouri is their schedule. They had Ole Miss was 10-2 last year. Well, guess what? Their only 2 losses was the only 2 teams they played that had a heartbeat.
Good point.
So, back to Oatmeal Joe. I'm sorry to free for all Monday here on you for a second.
Let it rip.
Would you ever think the leader of the free world is going to leave and has all the delegates to be the future nominee for the one of the only 2 parties in the United States? He's going to leave without addressing the people. Have you ever? I mean, he didn't even address the people. He did it in a memo, basically. And your sitting president is not going to run anymore, and he's not going to address the people.
I mean, if he's not able to run, is he able to lead?
I don't think he's.
Well, but why don't we give her a little sample size? She wants the big job of being the president. Let's see what she can do.
I don't think the nominee will be her whenever they get together and sling the delegates around again.
There's probably going to be a lot of negotiation to go, but she seems to, but they always say don't hire somebody smarter than you are, hire somebody dumber where you look better. Well, he followed that to the T. I mean, she looks pitiful, man. I mean, she is sad. It's like 2 peas in a pod. I mean, she's got him, but it ain't by much. Bless her.
Yeah, I agree.
And I have a goofy laugh. Okay, I have a goofy laugh. So I try not to laugh a lot. She has a goofy laugh, and she laughs at everything. I mean, you could walk up and say, "You want a Mountain Dew?" I mean, it's Lord have mercy. But I mean, if you're the liberal party, who do you have? I mean, who are you grooming? AOC? You want the yeah, I mean, it's
and as far as voting for Coach Saban, I love Coach Saban. If I was starting a business, I'd hire him as my CEO today. But when it comes to politics,
we're probably not on the same page.
Line up,
probably
not on the same page.
No, I know we're not. And I know West Virginia, he's probably a Joe Manchin type, middle of the ground. But
probably so.
Yeah, but
you get in that swamp over there in Washington, and it kind of drags you down. So no, if it doesn't line up politically, I couldn't vote for him just because it's Nick Saban.
Yeah, I mean, we love Coach Saban, Coach, but
I love him.
Yeah, your politics and my politics are two different things. So you're a heck of a football coach, like you said. I'd probably if you could hire him, I mean, he could run a Fortune 500 company and make tons and tons and tons of cash. But I don't know if I'd be, But like I said, he's probably that's the problem with a lot of your older people, Stephen. And my mom was a Democrat.
Yeah.
Okay? Yes, she just wasn't willing to trade in that name tag. She had that name tag. Now, I mean, that's the party of freaks, man. I mean, it's the weirdos, man. It's the people that, they want to hold on to that tag because they've done it for 60 years. And I would always aggravate my mom, and my mom had enough good enough sense that she left. And I'd always aggravate her. I think I've said this a couple of times on the radio. She would always say, and she would say, and she'd call me and she'd be all fired up about something the Democrats had did, and I'd say, Mom, that's your party. That's your party. Don't be blaming them. That's your party. Because she loved old Bill Clinton, man. She loved him. I mean, it was like, come on, Mom, come on. And so I'd aggravate her, and she'd look at me and she'd say, don't you start that. Don't you start that. And I'd say, well, I mean, that is your party. That's who you supported all your life. And she'd say, now listen, they left me. I didn't leave them. And that's so true, because they did leave a lot of those, old working class, blue collar, who they were founded on. And they kind of become the party of freaks, man.
Yeah.
I mean, not all, but most. I mean,
Hey, Ryan, if I have a second, I was thinking of, Paul and Lincoln, I think it is. I agree with him, 40 plus, man. 40 plus over Auburn. You look at Hugh Hefner Freeze.
And name is, you guys are going to get me in trouble with that name. I'm telling you. That may be one of the reasons.
He was wearing his smoking jacket over there in the Bahamas a week early, or just a month ago. He mailed it in. He went somewhere, went to a concert. He's singing on stage. Da 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 da. I kind of think he mails it in this year and just becomes. I've heard rumors that he doesn't even really like it there.
Can you blame him?
What's the chances of him mailing it in?
Can you?
And just getting on the payroll of the Auburn? Because how many former coaches at Auburn are on the payroll right now?
Is some of the people that have passed away still getting a check, or their beneficiaries? I mean, that's a real question, because they were all kind of like paying them off, making sure. Good point. Stephen, I appreciate.
I just could see him mailing it in. That's all. That's my only point. Well, roll Tide, Ryan.
Yeah, the honeymoon is kind of over there, because they're seeing that in this current structure of college football, you can build a program quick. You don't have to wait. You can go out and supplement your roster. This is not, 4 or 5 years ago where you got to go through a couple of recruiting classes. But there's not a salesman.
Ryan, everybody can legally do what they were doing for years to have their one good year in every 4 or 5 years.
And right now, and
they can't do that anymore.
Great point. Stephen, I appreciate you, man. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Right back to you. Let's continue. But I'm always hesitant about long-term politicians. That has been one of my things. I think we need to have term limits. And then when political leaders get up there and tell me what they're going to do, but they've already been there, it's like, I'm going to do this show. Well, why didn't you do it today? Well, I'm going to do this show. Well, why didn't you do it? I mean, I did it last week, 2 weeks ago. I mean, always when political leaders get up there and tell me what you're going to do, tell me what you've done. Run on your record. Anyway, The Pharmacy at Midtown, they run on their record. The Pharmacy at Midtown, TJ Thomas, the customer service. It is, if you're one of those that loves to sit in a coffin room and you got a little lobby there and you got little Johnny over here that's coughing all over people, well then and keep going, go where you're at. Customer service, if you want to wait for hours, press 1 for English, 2 for Spanish, 3 for Chinese. Okay, keep going to those big box stores. But if you want an actual customer service with your pharmacy, consider the pharmacy at Midtown. The hard-to-get medication, the quality medication, the consistent medication. The pharmacy at Midtown, 205-752-0627. The retail side, the only sterile compounding facility here in Tuscaloosa. All the compounding needs with that medicine that maybe you just can't find anymore, or maybe a dosage has changed, and you and your physician agree upon that. It is the pharmacy at Midtown. The pharmacy at Midtown. If you go and look at the back of the Midtown, second floor, you got the elevator, you got the stairs, conveniently located right there. You park in the back, you walk in, the pharmacy at Midtown, the pharmacy at Midtown. We roll on. We'll take more of your calls. Coming up in a couple of minutes, T-Town, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
Alabama political leaders are reacting to President Biden dropping out of the presidential race. West Alabama Democrat Congresswoman Terry Sewell posted that Biden will go down in history as one of the most consequential and transformational leaders America has ever seen. Alabama's unemployment rate remained a record 2.2% in the month of June, but the percentage of those unemployed remains at 57.7%. Tuscaloosa's unemployment rate at 2.9%. And rain every day this week is expected to help break the drought across West Alabama.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters. Tide 100.9 Traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, there is good news. A couple of accidents. We've said goodbye to Lurleen Wallace at Stillman Boulevard. That accident out of there. And McFarland Boulevard eastbound had an earlier crash at Campus Drive. That has been cleared as well. So we're looking good on the rest of the roadways so far. We have got Lurleen Wallace on the northbound lanes to McFarland Boulevard. That is wide open at this time. You may tap on the brakes, but nothing severe. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
Rumsey Environmental, a one-stop shop serving West Alabama for all of your waste removal needs. If you're in the construction business, take a little bit of stress out of your life. The construction debris removal containers customized to fit your job site, the portable toilet service, the storage containers to protect your valuables. It's Rumsey Environmental for that complete waste removal service when you have to know.
Now the largest mass medium in the United States. If you're like me and you have a passion for radio, or you want to put the power of radio to work for your brand, log on to radioupdate.com.
For over 5 years in our community in downtown Northport under that Roll Tide Bridge, Mark's Mark, the home of the chicken swirl. You'll find that since 1978 in Selma, Alabama. For over 5 years in downtown Northport. If you want to dominate the grill today or any day, find Mark's Mark. A great stop by on your way home. If you're preparing for dinner, they've got a lot of those gourmet dishes that you can find, the great casseroles, the dips, the appetizers, the great steaks, the pork chops, the burgers, and all the supplies you need to dominate the grill. It's Mark's Mark for over 5 years in downtown Northport and since 1978 in Selma, Alabama. Mark's Mark, home of the chicken swirl.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky cloudy at times through tonight. The chance of a few passing showers or thunderstorms. The high today 86, the low tonight 71. Tomorrow mostly cloudy with scattered to numerous showers and storms around. The high 85. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Light up those phone lines on the game with Ryan Fowler. 205-342-9904. You're inside the game on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Lemon shallow on them over. I said we're perfect till we hardly ever fight. I told him you're a queen, I'm just a lucky joker. Things are going great, yeah, we communicate. Loving you is easier than ever. I pray you never go. There's something you should know. I hope you stay forever, 'cause if you ever leave me, girl, I'll get a face tattoo.
205-342-9904. 205-342-9904. Marty, Arkansas. Marty, good afternoon. You're in the game. Hey, Marty. No Marty. Going once, going twice. Sold to the first bidder. AC, Bangladesh. AC, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Good afternoon, sir. How you feeling? Thank you so much for taking my call.
I'm having a great day, man. I hope you are as well.
Good. How is who's the new producer now?
Joe Biden.
Sure. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna quit on the country and just leave? Probably just leave the show altogether. Just quit middle of the show. No, seriously, man. Who's the new producer?
It's Joe Biden. I told you.
Okay. All right.
I mean, you don't like Joe?
I'm not gonna make any comments.
Are you not gonna call because Joe is producing? I mean.
Well, I mean, that's Bam and Nick's favorite president, so have the former number one caller to address his favorite president. It's not my topic, right?
Well, I mean, he doesn't have anything else to do, right?
Yeah, he could.
But the only problem is he told me a while ago he was going home an hour early, and I was like, no, we'll go until 6, man.
Oh, man. I mean, he's an old guy, just like Bam and Nick. What are you going to do, right? I mean, I have an idea. How about Joe Biden carries your bag in the studio? That's a good job, right? I wonder if you can carry 2 bags. He's too old, right?
Well, that would be considered elder abuse, and I don't want to do that.
It's not elder abuse. It's called being smart. I'm pretty sure Miss Fowler is going to like it. But excuse me, for some reason, when you call so many stations, you stumble with the words. I apologize. How was your weekend, Mr. Fowler?
Oh,
then I'm going to get to football.
It was good. I went to a deer expo yesterday. Had some fun. That was.
Did you hunt?
Did I what?
Did you hunt? You said deer expo. What is it, for kids or you want for hunting? What did you do?
No, it's a deer expo. It's like, you ever heard of like a home and garden show?
Yes, I did.
Where you go and you got different people in there that will be like cabinets or, maybe it's outdoor patio space or whatever. Deer Expo is just like where you go and there's tons and tons of people that, are selling deer hunting products. So, it's big. It's big.
I love that.
I think it's one of the largest. I think it's one of the largest in the world, right here.
That's right.
World's largest deer expo, I think.
Oh yeah.
They even had a skiing squirrel, a squirrel that skied around.
Beautiful. Now you had a nice call from Jacob before I get into the football topic. It was a beautiful.
You like Jacob? Okay, he's trying to beat out a fourth grader. He's trying to beat.
I like smart callers. I've been telling you, I like smart callers. And so far, I got my favorite 3 callers. What's his name? I get excited about all this. I got Jacob. I got, what's his name? Corey in the house. And our number 1 caller, Mini Tribal Chief Josh from Georgia. Woo, what a great show. But Mr. Fowler, let's get to football. You know how you feel so excited. You feel so, the excitement is building for the Crimson Tide. You know what I realized while I'm sitting on the phone? I never saw your excitement on the Dallas Cowboys. Why is that?
Well, I mean, it's an NFL team. I mean, I love the Dallas Cowboys. Team, right? I love the Dallas Cowboys, but I'm not really oh my God. I mean, like if they win, I'm happy. If they lose, I don't want them to lose. Happy? No, I mean, but I also understand that it's the NFL system is built different than the college system.
So you're just going to blame it on the system, but not on the Cowboys,
Well, I mean, would you not agree that it's parity in the league?
I think, let me address that to you. Sports itself is just horrible. Like, what am I watching, man? It's like in basketball, you touch me, oh, my God, Kardashian just stopped me, just grabbed me, like, or in football, oh, here goes. You cannot hit it. I mean, you don't want to be violent, but you cannot hit a quarterback. There goes a 15-yard flag. Like, what is this? What are we watching, some kid's game? I mean, come on. The excitement is gone, man. This is what I say. Hockey is so awesome. They don't care about much. I mean, they do stop the game for a certain reason, but not like a constant, we got to stop this. Ref, he grabbed me. Give me a hug. Come on. When was the last time Tom Brady got a dirty hit? Do you remember?
I don't.
2008. When one of the defenders from the Kansas City Chiefs laid him out, put him in the hospital bed, and that's it. Ever since then, Tom Brady never got injured. He never had major injury because he couldn't touch him. As soon as you touch, it's like you breathe, that's a 50-year flag, 15-year flag. Stop with this, man. Let the man play. This is why it's going down the hill, man. Sports is fun, but sometimes I'm telling you, these referees, those rigged games. I mean, you know about the NBA gambling, right? Scott, what is it? Some guy, I'm forgetting his name now. The bald-headed guy, who I'm talking about, right? No. Joey Crawford. Joey Crawford. There it goes. It's all garbage, man.
Hey,
like,
see, do you call in and say, how dumb can I be today? I mean, do you like call in and...
I try to go all the way to the bottom, brother. I try to put you on the top. I try to play dumb so I can make you look a little smart. Sometimes you're smart. Other times you're dumb. I cannot follow up with you.
Well, I can't follow what you're saying. I mean, it's just...
And this is why I love you. Oh, my God. This is why I love you way too much, man. The love I have for you. But did you know... do you have an ESPN app by any chance? Because I'm going to ask you something about the ACC. Do you have an ESPN app?
No.
Okay. So I saw my ESPN app not too long ago. They're saying ACC is fighting hard to keep Clemson and Florida State. So what do you think about that? They're fighting the hard tooth and nail to keep them.
What
do you think about that? They're fighting to keep these two programs.
Well, good for them.
I know, good for them.
I mean, they have to put up some kind of fight. If not, what are they going to roll over?
What they can do is...
It's the bottom dwellers of the group, the Power Five, fighting to stay relevant. I mean, we saw it last week.
Just like the Auburn Tigers.
Well, we saw it in the Big 12. I mean, the Big 12 commissioner comes out and says, we've never had more eyeballs on us. You just lost Texas and Oklahoma. You replaced them with inferior teams. I mean, for once, we're going to take up for Texas on this show. Losing Texas is a big old slap to your ego. But then you want to tell me, come on, we're not going to miss them. You are going to miss them.
I mean, they're going to miss their money, but they're not.
They offer a value. I mean, even though we know that it's inflated value that they think, but I mean, it is Texas. It's a major conference.
Do you think? Let me ask you a question. Since you got back to Texas, do you think their booster is more smart than their average fans? What do you think about that? I think so. And let me tell you why. Because they went to SEC for business reason, right? I just answered that question for you.
Well, they did it because the Big 12 was sinking.
That's right.
They had destroyed it, a lot of them that had created this mess. In
other words...
I got to run, man.
Don't run. Can you walk? What are you doing? You're jogging or something?
Well,
all right, thank you so much for taking my call, brother.
I got to go get something to eat, man.
Well, go on a diet. What the hell are you doing? Stop what you're eating and drinking. Go on a damn diet. Love you, bro. Holla.
Holla. We'll continue with more of the game. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
As long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
The flagship station for Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
My baby born a Birkin. She's been telling me all night long. Gasoline and groceries, the list goes on and on. It's 9 to 5, ain't working. Why the hell do I work so hard? I can't worry about my problems. I can't take them when I'm gone. Here comes the 2 to the 3.
Hey, Mark's Mark, downtown Northport under that Roll Tide Bridge. If you want to dominate the grill today or any day, it's Mark's Mark. Since 1978 in Selma, Alabama, and over 5 years in downtown Northport under that Roll Tide Bridge. Let's continue. Let's take some phone calls, and we go here to Mitchell. Mitchell, good afternoon. Happy belated birthday to you, man.
Hey, Ryan, I appreciate that, man.
Dude, you
really
have
do.
lost some weight. I'm telling you.
I saw the pictures, obviously, on Facebook that you're talking about, and I think it was had something to do with
Did it photoshopped? Okay. Yeah.
No. I think it had something to do with just the way my sister took that picture. I mean, it did look like in one of those pictures that I had lost weight, but and you know, delivering this beer out in this 100-degree temperature, you'll lose a few pounds doing that.
Well, and Kalen even said he was sweating some few pounds off too. You know, he said, you know, what's been the big adjustment? Sweat. Yes. Welcome to the South.
Exactly. But yeah, man, I really enjoyed putting faces with the names there, meeting Jumbo, and as he was right, I did give her a nickname, Mrs. Jumbo, and then Dale. Those both of those guys and Jumbo's wife, they're nice folks, and I was glad to meet them. And of course, I had met Josh 2 years ago, and he was in town helping celebrate my birthday with me and my family. So really enjoyed meeting them guys, and they're both, like I said, they're both some good guys, and really enjoyed it. But man, so the talking season run is over with, and
it's almost.
We're 9 days away from practice. My good. To me now, it's been a extra quick off season. I guess with everything that's going on.
You know, and I told someone in the building a couple of days ago, I'm like, I've never been through an off season like this. It was.
I know.
You know, and I was looking at my Facebook account, and I've tried to amp that up a little bit with putting content up there this year. But I was looking in the month, like it runs to like June the 15th until July the 15th. My reach on Facebook now this is crazy. I've only got like 23,000 people on Facebook that follow me. Okay. It was over 5 million people I reached on my Facebook account.
Nice.
You know what that tells you? Alabama fans are ready, man. They are off because I don't ever post anything else but Alabama stuff. But I mean, my reach was 5 million for that 28 days is what they timed.
My goodness, we are ready, and we're all excited now. You know, a month or so ago, you had the what if category, and everybody was calling in what if this, what if that. And I'm not trying to be Mr. Negative or nothing, but and it's not the biggest thing in Alabama football history. But what if everybody's predicting this, and we're saying we're going to win, and how can we not win? But what if the 10-2 or 11-1 that we're projecting? What if Kalen DeBoer? What if that's turned into 8-4? I mean, it's going to be a disaster if that happens, Ryan. And I certainly don't think it will.
I mean, do you really? So what's the floor? What do you think is the floor for this team?
I think the lowest, in my mind, the lowest. 9 wins would be the lowest. Maybe 8.
So take 9 wins. Can 9 wins get you to the playoffs?
It depends on what happens for the other 11 teams out there. I don't think it will, but everybody's schedule seems to be pretty tough. And some of the big boys, the Ohio States, the Michigans, the Georgias, some of the big boys could lose a couple and lose key games, and it depends on how it all lines up. But and obviously, like I said, the ceiling, the floor is 9 in my mind. The ceiling's obviously 12, but I think in reality it's probably going to be 10-2. I just don't know who I'm ready to say. Okay, Alabama's going to lose to them because everybody knows we're living rent free in the Georgia Bullpuppies' heads. They just can't beat us. They beat Saban one time. Kirby beat Saban one time, and if they come in here on the 28th of September and we beat them again, and those fans over there, I got a couple of buddies of mine that I went to high school with that are big Dog fans, and they already told me after the SEC championship game, man, one of them said, he called me and said, man, I'm so tired of losing you guys. I'm like, y'all beat us in the national championship, and 3 or 4 years ago, yeah, that's a national championship once in a blue moon, but we can't win the SEC championship. I'm like, well, got a point.
Good point. Hey, Mitchell, I got to get to this break, man. I'm up against this clock, man. I'm having to fight this thing today, man. I mean, you can tell by the Alabama fans how excited I'm in the phone lines. I mean, literally, we're 46 minutes after 5. There's not a line available. It is.
Right. Have a great night. Memo to you in 40 days, Western Kentucky. It's not business. It's not pleasure. It's business. You're next. Roll Tide, Ryan Fowler.
Roll Tide. Let's continue, and we got a Marty in Arkansas. Marty, quickly, good afternoon, sir. You're in.
Hey, Ryan, just remember the goal. Hey, another thing, Ryan, you got to get our naysayers and that up on the board on the August 1st, and then you got to get us all together sometime on August on a Thursday night, so we all meet together at the state place or your place you eat lunch at all the time, the Ale House and stuff. But Ryan, the program was in worse shape when Saban took over than when Bear Bryant took over. We couldn't get a coach. We couldn't even get nobody to go to school there, and we couldn't even get the players in state to go there. And that's what's wrong with Arkansas right now. They've lost the top 3 recruits for 05 out of the state. He can't even get the in-state recruits. But Ryan, we'll be in the championship every year. I have no doubt about that. You know why?
Why?
Because we'll have the best quarterbacks. You look who won Super Bowls. Kansas City had the best quarterback. They're going down. They had a bad season. Roger Staubach, the best quarterback. Troy Aikman, best quarterback. You have the best quarterback, and we got him sitting right there, him, Ty Simpson, the guy that came from UW, and the guy from SMU. We got the best quarterbacks in the country the next 4 years, and they'll lead us to championships. And we'll have 10 interceptions this year or more, Ryan. No one knows how to go. When he comes out with that 4-2-5 and that DB comes in there and smacks that quarterback, he'll be shaking in the boots all night long and throw interceptions. All right, Ryan, I know you got a lot of people to talk to, so
Thank you, man.
I'm going to let you go. Hey, good talking to you. Have a good rest of the day, and I'll yell at you tomorrow.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Marty. We'll continue with more. We'll wrap up the loose ends with more phone calls next. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Hey, everybody, it's Gary Harris. On Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., we'll only be 8 days away from Alabama beginning fall camp, so we're going to talk a lot of football. The Rocket Man, Rudy Arman, will join us at 9:30 on Tuesday morning. Also, your phone calls. Gary Harris Show, Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Make sure to tune in.
Catch the Gary Harris Show Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com. Tide 100.9 Traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A little bit of this and that in the area, but nothing severe. McFarland Boulevard at the 15th Street intersection. Now, that's not doing too shabby. It's a little slow at just a little slow, but go. And also moving on Lurleen Wall.
You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text support to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
It's the longest running sports show in Tuscaloosa. You're listening to The Game with Ryan Fowler on Tide 100.9.
It's waiting there for you. Gotta take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa.
Let's continue with more phone calls. We're going to try to jam in everybody we possibly can. Tommy Romulus. Tommy, let it rip. Go.
Well, I'm not worried about it. We go 8-4. We go 8-4. We go 8-4, but we're not going to go 8-4. Quit worrying about the worst thing. Take one game at a time.
Tommy, can I look ahead to Georgia if it's okay?
No, because you make me mad. You deliberately.
He's always one of those guys. Don't you dare! Sounds like he's been Sabanized.
No, I've been DeBoer-nized now. Okay, it's Alabama-nized, okay? I got other things to tell you, but I know there's other caller. I'm going to talk about your wonderful, wonderful sponsor of your show tomorrow. So I'll save that story for tomorrow.
Okay.
At the wharf. So, roll tide.
Thank you. Thank you, Tommy. Let's go to Digger down in Louisiana. Digger, 1 minute, go.
Real quick. Are you still trying to decipher what
Appreciate
AC?
you. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, are you still trying to decipher what AC said?
No. What? Huh?
And by the way, listen, I know you're still butthurt about Drew DeMoron, okay? I know you were trying to stroke him to make him feel good.
He tore you up.
And you sitting there plagiarizing my comments about the tail between his legs. I used that last week, so you can't use that on me. I already used that on him, and he wasn't cocky today. He was very reserved and laid back, like I better not say anything wrong about Texas.
He was scared,
What did
wasn't
he
he?
say?
He was scared.
What's he talking about? One national championship since 1939. I think he was talking about A&M.
That's A&M. Yeah, that's A&M stats.
Well, he got that confused, a little cornball. Listen, real quick, I'm just letting you know, okay? Buy the 4Runner, but you want the Land Cruiser.
Yeah, she started on that a couple of days ago, and she said, well, you know,
Land Cruiser.
She said, I would probably consider a Land Cruiser, and I'm like, okay, babe, okay.
Save your money and get the Land Cruiser. My son got the 4Runner. He's kind of not happy with it, but he loves the Land Cruiser.
All right, I got to run, Digger. Thanks, man.
Later.
Let's go to Ellis, Manchester, Tennessee. 1 minute, let it rip, Ellis. Go.
Hey, I got somebody who wants to play Roll Tide, Ryan.
All right, Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide. Is that Mom, Ellis? Is that what that is?
It is. That's Mom.
Okay, well, good deal. Good deal. So that means you're going to be eating good. She's going to be cooking you a big old meal.
No, I cook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I cook tonight.
All right, Ellis. Hey, appreciate you, man. Roll Tide to you.
All right, Roll Tide.
Last duck through the hole, we always call him. Ellis from Manchester, Tennessee. We remind you that we call this program the game of the element that you win the big game. The game of life is to walk daily with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Good night, T-Town.
Thank you for listening to the